Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which I strongly advise you all join. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, you can simply click the link in the info box below this video to join the Discord server, which should stay open for around 24 hours after this show is over. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. I'm currently joined by 10th Man, so I'll just raise the mic on him and say a very quick hello. How are you doing, 10th Man? Can you hear me?
I do. I'm doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. I wasn't actually covered in chocolate when I said I wasn't going to start because of chocolate on my face. I mean, there's sprinkles on the top of my coffee and it's a very wide cup. That was all it was. I'm not like sat here shoveling chocolate into my face.
Well, in a few minutes, you will be covered with chocolate saying.
What, chocolate saying?
Yeah.
Vanilla. Yeah, you should get here just before we start the live show, I expect.
Yeah, I was saying that was a fun show yesterday.
You'll have to remind me.
Oh, all the fireworks, all the excitement, let's see, John, right the hand, Arwen. We had a lot of things going on yesterday.
You still have to remind me.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm sitting here thinking.
Yeah,
just give me a bit more details. It's yesterday.
Okay.
Talking about 24 hours here.
We were talking about photons and light, and it isn't light, and double slit, and all that stuff.
I do vaguely remember now you say that. Oh, yeah, no. That's probably why I've blocked it out. Yeah, I was quite harsh to write. I was quite harsh to write the hand. Memory serves me.
This is what makes the show wonderful, because when people get passionate about their points, myself included, it creates a wonderful debate. And you did your best, I thought, yesterday in trying to moderate. So I think it was fun. Maybe.
I mean, one of those. I struggle with explaining some direct answers to questions specifically relating to quantum mechanics, because there's been a progression in terms of the study of light. It's not as simple as saying, where do you observe this natural phenomena? Now, arguably you could give examples, but when I give them I feel slightly disingenuous if I was to say, well, you can have light refract through a crystal or something to that effect. Yeah, it's arguably the case. It is definitely a natural phenomena when we're talking about light and the diffraction thereof. So it's not unreasonable to use that as an example, but by the same token, I don't want people to think that somebody came along, saw a diffraction pattern in a crystal, and then tried to replicate it, and then went, "Oh, hang on a second, why is it collapsing?" Because in essence, you've not got that as the origin. You've got far more steps leading up to that in what you could call the journey of scientific discovery. So it's not just someone's come across a new phenomena and then started to science the shit out of it. It's a long story of the study of light through experimentation. So it's not that simple. And I think by the end of yesterday's after show, we did get to the point where at least Right the Hand and a few others were saying, okay, well, that now makes a bit more sense now that you've explained it in that way. And I'm having to say things like, somebody didn't just stumble over a rock and see wave function collapse and go, I must figure out the cause. It doesn't work like that. But it doesn't mean that what you're seeing within the double slit experiment, for example, is conjured within the test, because that effect is a natural effect of light. It's always going to do that. However, you try and isolate the variables, get it down to the point where you've only got that effect. That's the point. But people will go, oh, you're conjuring it. It's like, no, you can see this effect in nature. That's very easy. It's just I start to stutter and stammer when it comes to quantifying it in that way, because I know that's not the origin of the actual test. And, you know, short of doing what John does, and I can't, in terms of explaining the history of the progression through science of the study of light, you can't verbalise it in like 35 seconds, which is typically the amount of time max that you'll get given to verbalise anything that complicated. So I'm pretty sure John referred back to like the mega after show. I can't remember. I've got to give him better titles because finding that's going to be a nightmare. But I do remember him spending probably about half an hour. Maybe it was 40 minutes, maybe it was 20. But either way, a prolonged period of time explaining to numerous members of the panel about this exact history of the scientific discoveries applicable to light. And by the end of it, the people on the panel are like, yeah, I get it now. But that happened yesterday. And that's why I can totally understand John's frustration when he's like, for the 50,000th time, because he has said it a lot. And, you know, on the other hand, I do, in a more condensed way, do the same. You know, on Skype, I'll say repeatedly, I don't get it. You'll have to say it again. But I said at the start of him being very cordial and telling me all this information when I had questions, that I'd probably ask the same question 10 times. It's like, look, it's just not going to sink in quickly. You know, this is in most respects way above my pay grade. I'm average Joe here, you know, but it warms my heart to think that me, average Joe, can comprehend this stuff, because it means the audience can. If it's diluted down slightly and put into a package that can be accepted by many, and that might take even more than 10 times. If it takes 10 times with me, then it might take 10 times to 20 times for somebody who's, without any disrespect to anybody in the audience, less intelligent than I. Now, I'm not claiming to be any sort of mega genius, high IQ, whatever. I'm not. But it's just comprehend. If it's comprehensible to me, it's comprehensible to others.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I think being on the sideline, which I really enjoyed being yesterday, because I could see it was between John and Right the Hand and maybe you moderating. You get to view it and then say, oh, I think I know what Right the Hand is asking. Oh, John, that wasn't exactly what he was asking. Oh, Right the Hand, that wasn't really what John said, but you took it the wrong way. So I was going through that myself, right? So to me, when Right the Hand said, when do we see photons?
When do we see what?
Said, light.
When do we see what?
Photon.
Photons, yeah. Sorry, just didn't hear the word. Go on.
Yeah. Hey, Flatsoid. Good morning. All right. Well, in any case.
No, Mike.
So when John, so when he says, when do we see photons in nature? I go right to.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
The dulcet South African tones finally coming through. Have you got a mic problem or something? Don't want to think. Carry on, 10th man. We'll hopefully get
we'll get him when he comes on. So when he said that first, meaning Right the Hand, basically he was referencing the scientific.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, we will get there.
I'm just
we'll come back to it. There we go. Yeah, we hear you.
Testing out my laptop.
Perfect.
I'm at home today, so I'm just trying to test something quickly.
No, that's you coming through loud and clear now. That's perfect. Whatever you've done, don't change your thing. But yeah, Right the Hand just go at the pinnacle moment where it explains a position that Right the Hand understood in terms of photons. And try again. We'll get there. I promise.
It's all right. So I totally understood what Right the Hand was asking, but he wasn't asking it in the way John understood it or made it clear. What I believe Right the Hand was asking was, wait a minute, you say the scientific method is we observe a phenomenon. When do I observe a photon? And then John answered, light. And that's where it got convoluted, because if I say to you that the double slit experiment, the quantum eraser, the whole kip and caboodle, the whole thing, is at a molecular level. Well, how am I ever going to see that? I see the broad way, meaning I see light, but then what they had to do in the quantum eraser is go to the smallest particle.
Sorry,
Yeah,
just
go
say the last
ahead.
couple of
Check
words.
your mic.
Got a bit of feedback from Flatsoid. Say the last couple of words.
Me or Flatsoid?
You.
Okay. So because because right the hand was saying, when do I see that with my eyes? Well, you don't see molecules with your eyes, but you do see light. And light is photons, is what John was trying to say. And so right the hand would say, yeah, but when do I see all of what you're showing in the quantum eraser test or experiment with my eyes? And John says, when you see light. And then right hand would say, yeah, but I don't see a photon. But you see light, John would say, and they just got stuck there. So to me, an example there would be for all of recorded history, when animals or people reproduce after their like when you have children or I have children or my animals give birth to their type of animal, whatever, a sheep or a goat or whatever, we call that what we see. But if you take it to the molecular level, it's DNA. Well, do I see DNA? No, I don't see DNA. But now we know it's DNA. We know there's a code. We know that's heavily involved in the reproduction system. So to me, it got that convoluted where light is a photon, but I don't see photon, but I see light. So it's the same thing, except at a molecular level, John is saying. And right the hand saying, yeah, but I don't see that molecular level. And then, so that's where it got stuck. But there's plenty of examples that could open up this discussion. Like if you take something under a microscope, you see the nitty gritty elements of whatever you were seeing when it was not under the microscope, but it's still the same thing. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, well, there was also a bit of misunderstanding in terms of what diffraction actually is. So he's describing a car backing away and essentially detailing a physical example of the Aries discs example that describe the diffraction limit. And he's right, but it's not being used in the same term when you're talking about interference. And the interference pattern, or probability distribution, also known as wave function collapse, when it's described in that way, the wave function is the probability distribution, it is the diffraction, it is the interference that collapses.
Yeah.
But he's seeing it as a point in the distance where something loses its resolution scale and disappears, which is the diffraction limit. It's two different things that are ultimately both describing interference, but in different contexts. One specifically given its actual terminology mathematically and accurately as a wave function. And if you want to expand out on what that is, it's a probability distribution, not a physical wave that you can surf, just so everyone's clear. Don't want to hear any more of bloody light as waves. I'm sick of hearing it. But anyway, that aside, once that was dialed in, it's like, okay, so when you're talking about wave function collapse, you're talking about probability distribution changing to two lines of light instead of the probability distribution. That's what's actually being observed as the phenomena and the cause thereof. Why is it displaying these two different characteristics? That's your phenomena that you're trying to figure the cause of in the experiment. Hey, Ranty, and hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey.
Yeah, that's if anything, it's going to drive everyone on the panel to go study the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. There's so many versions of it online.
Sure.
It is a which path situation. They've pretty much done this test to where there's no detector when it's being shot out, and it's hitting all the different prisms and going different places. And the entanglement aspect of it, I find very interesting, how that works. So it is such such an atomic level, so to speak, such a small level of what's really going on and what a knower or the knowledge of causes. When they first thought it was a machine, a detector that caused it, but then they realized, wait a minute, it has nothing to do with that. It's just knowing. This is wonderful stuff for us to be into. So it's not going to be easy to digest. We're going to need a lot of examples, and we all got to go back and watch those videos John made and others.
Right. Well, I mean, having had it explained to myself about 10 times, it's still difficult. That was the first time yesterday that I've had to actually verbalise it myself. And it's incredibly difficult. You know, I'm only just wrapping my head around it. I can just about, and I do understand it, but to verbalise it to others is incredibly difficult. So I'm losing patience while I'm trying to explain something that I don't understand well enough to explain. Yes, I understand it, but can I verbalise that to others? Well, not really, not in a wonderful way at least. Can I interject at points to understand what's important to be talked about and what's not when two others are talking? Absolutely, I'm good at that. But at one point, I'm on the spot trying to explain to somebody saying there's no phenomena. Well, yeah, there is. There's absolutely a phenomena. Well, I don't see it in nature. And he's got a legitimate point. His cognition in terms of where he's got to that point is valid. But there's also a reasonable explanation that was, you know, agreed upon once it's been given. But the unfortunate being, it's me that's giving it, you know, which isn't necessarily great. But on the other hand, John, who's given it 50,000 times in John's way, is tired of giving it. So it's like, okay, well, I've got to have to do it then. But I lose patience when everybody's interrupting and I'm trying to figure out a way of wording it so it can be understood by the panel and, more importantly, the audience.
Well, this is where I said, being on the sidelines listening, I wouldn't even dare interject yesterday because it was already hot enough. But I would have said, it is a phenomenon right to hand. If you look through it, through the lenses that allow you to see the atomic level, you do see this phenomenon, but you don't see it with your naked eye without the help of those instruments. The phenomenon is still happening, but you can't see it unless you go to the DNA, so to speak, level. You got to get to that level, but your eyes, just like when we look out, there's a vanishing point. There's only so much our eyes can do. Okay, so we get a telescope or a P1000 and we see further. Okay, well, in this case, we go and use the instruments that the quantum scientists are using to see the phenomenon at that level. Without it, our eyes won't see it. It's just simple.
Can I get a mic check from you, Anthony?
Can you hear me?
Perfect. Sound brilliant.
Has Ranty told you about this court case?
No? Yeah, I got a message about the thing on Facebook. Yes, I did see that.
So basically, do you remember Zheng Garcia? He's not been in this for a while.
Yeah, I know Zheng Garcia.
Yeah, so he's had his court battle where he said that can anybody demonstrate curvature with two independent techniques? And some guy claimed it, and he said, "No, you haven't proven it." And they went to court over it, and he won. I think it's a great day for Flat Earth when we can basically. I mean, I haven't read it yet. It's quite a long document, but I'll be reading it in the next few hours. That's going into my piece of paper.
It's an actual court case?
Yeah. He put up a challenge for 15 grand for anybody that could demonstrate measurable curvature. We're using at least two different techniques, two independent techniques, not doing the same experiment twice. Some guy claimed it, and he said, "No, you haven't demonstrated curvature because and then basically they had a fight over it, and it went to court, just like Wallace and Hampton on the Bedford levels experiment. And the judge said, "No, you haven't proven that there is measurable curvature."
Oh, I'll have to look into it. I thought it was a parody.
Do you know the court case side of Wallace and what actually happened, or the judge's decision, more importantly, 10th man? Hello?
10th man.
Oh, that was directed at me?
Yeah. Do you know what the judge decided in that case in regards to the Bedford
level one?
Yeah. Do you know what the court?
No, I don't.
And I don't want to steal Anthony's thunder. He brought it up and told me originally. So,
all right. So let me do it then. Basically, they were looking through a telescope over 5 miles on the canal, and it was to do with the interpretation of what they saw when they looked through the eyepiece. Now, bear in mind, the telescope's upside down. Now, the argument is, Wallace said that when you take into effect the effects of refraction, in other words, bendy light, then it's entirely consistent with a sphere Earth. But Hampden said, no, you're taking the piss. Light doesn't bend the way you're saying it does. That's dishonest. Now, the adjudicator or judge took a look into the eyepiece, and he sketched what he saw when he looked through the eyepiece. And it was agreed that everybody, because obviously cameras weren't invented at that time, so he couldn't prove it. He had to just draw out what he saw. So the judge drew out what he saw, and he accepted Wallace's explanation for refraction. Hampden went berserk and said, "No, this is bullshit. This is cloak and dagger." But basically, it's the same argument that we have even to this day. Refraction makes it look flat, and Hampden just wouldn't accept that this was a legitimate counter by Wallace, because he called him dishonest, a charlatan, a thief, or dishonest. But he pushed it and pushed it and pushed it that much. He felt that strongly about it. He ended up in jail as a result of his harassing. Now, that to me tells me that Hampden knows that this guy's dishonest, but ballers say, well, that's because Wallace was right and Hampden wouldn't let it go. So it depends on how you interpret based on your interpretation of what went on. But the point remains that Hampden said that Wallace was being dishonest. And the only honest position that we can take is that we just don't know. But there's a valid argument both ways. So in application of the Hampden Bedford Levels experiment court case, Nathan's point was, do you know what the judge actually said? I'm actually trying to remember what the judge said, Nathan. Do you want to fill in the gap?
Well, no, you've already done it. It wasn't specifically the words
I
being
don't have
used.
any sources to give here.
Okay, say again, Flatsword?
I don't have any sources to give here.
You'll have to tighten the string a bit on your 2 cups that you're communicating with us through.
Yeah, you sound shit, Flatzoid.
Pull the string tight.
No.
There you go. There you go.
What did you say, Flatzoid?
Sounded like the BBC in the World War II era.
This is the BBC television service.
I'm not sure what's wrong with Flatzoid today.
He said he was at home,
said he
which would
was-
suggest he had a better connection, but alas, he hasn't.
He said he was on his laptop.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point was Hampden and Wallace had this massive fight about whether or not whether light followed a curved path or not. And obviously that's still the position today that we all argue about. It hasn't gone further forward at all.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has. They assume the curved path based on a reification of the assumption of a sphere. 7/6R.
I know, but what I'm saying is that point has never, as far as I can tell, that point's not been concluded ever since. Even though we don't accept it, and I get the arguments both ways, what I'm saying is that the ballers still have the view that Wallace had back then.
Oh, right. In the face of it being debunked, you mean?
Yeah.
I see. Five minutes and we'll go live.
Nathan, I'm not going to be here for most of the show today. I'll be here for the first 10 minutes maybe, but I'll have to go after that. I've got to be somewhere.
No worries.
Well, Anthony, that was a nice video you put up yesterday as well. Good job again.
Say that again.
Your video you put up yesterday. Good job again.
Yeah, it's clearly obvious that the density change causes the pressure to change, and that's represented by the syringe moving. So we see the pressure change because the syringe moves. They're not accepting that is being caused by the change in density. They're saying, "Oh well, there's other," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the thing that I manipulated is the cause, isn't it? Stop trying to change."
Now, when the element that was burning in the container to cause the pressure change, when that subsided, did the weight naturally go back down to its equilibrium?
No, I don't think so, because it had changed its density inside the conical flask.
Right, but once you relieve that pressure from that flask, would the weight go down to its equilibrium where it was before? Or did it have enough pull on the syringe?
No, I had enough pull on the syringe to house it.
Got it.
Hold it.
So the syringe was powerful enough to keep the weight where it last stood.
Yeah.
Got it.
So what? No. what you're saying is entropy wouldn't take effect. If you left that set up with it holding the weight over a prolonged period of time, there is enough imperfections in the seals and various other things used. Oh, I have to start remembering to mute Skype. I was going to say, just let me finish that point. No. So, yeah, okay, it can lift the weight. Entropy would still take effect. There is enough imperfections in the seals, in the syringe, and the apparatus itself, the tubing and the bung, and it would still succumb to entropy. Eventually, given enough time, that weight would return to equilibrium.
Yes, over time.
Yes.
But I want to know if it happened right away. And he said that this, obviously what he said, based on your language, is that the seals were holding right afterwards. So, but over time, we all know what's
Hold on. Can you just pop yourself on mute, Anthony? You're cutting off what 10th man saying with your keyboard.
Yeah, so basically, because the seals were strong and it was holding then, but over time, it would go back to its equilibrium because of entropy.
Right.
No, I agree. I just want to know if it happened immediately after or not.
No, I mean, but it's the equivalent to, it's the opposite end of us saying the sulfur hexafluoride. Yeah, it can do that as a nice parlour trick for a few minutes. Well, this is no different. Entropy will still take hold. So this weight is just... sorry, close your ears. Hold on, close your ears, Anthony. This parlour trick is just a parlour trick. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like the guy with the 40-foot open-end pipe that went all the way to a second-story building, and he said the gas is still in the pipe. Well, give it enough time, it'll go out.
Right. These are just parlour tricks, and they're very good, but none of them are going to overcome entropy. They don't call it a law of nature for nothing.
But that was funny with the pipe, because it still was in a container that was really long and vertical.
Yeah, like a tyre with a hole in it. Look, driving around with gas pressure. There's a hole in that tyre. No longer a container.
Oh, I love these little arguments.
I don't know. I'm kind of getting sick of parlour tricks being called experiments, but there we go. That's another issue.
Well, we can just hold their feet to it. That's the fun part.
Good morning.
Hey, Chocolate, whatever you do, don't get all over Nathan's face today, okay?
What? Oh, before the show started, I was just about to start. Now I've got to give that context. So just before the show started, I was like, I'm just going to go and wipe my face. I've got chocolate on my face because I was drinking a cappuccino with chocolate on it. That's it.
Okay. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, you don't need that when you get here, chocolate. That was, yeah.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, which I strongly advise you all do, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Ranty Flat Earth, Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Flatzoid, Chocolate Saiyan, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people on Discord. Very good to have you all.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, mic check.
Yeah, we hear you, Paul.
Very good to have you.
Good
Just give me
morning.
a few seconds. I'll take a few people off mute in the... Oh, they're all off mute. Someone's got there before me. Okay, any signs of Earth curvature, gentlemen and ladies?
No.
Is everybody aware of Zheng Garcia's legal case that he's had come through the news in the last 24 hours?
Flat Earth wins! Woo!
Yeah, I
There was
posted it on the Master B. I posted it, so I don't know if they saw it.
Yeah, there was a Bedford level-esque challenge that Zheng Garcia put up. Now, I might butcher this, so forgive me if I get this wrong, but you can all look it up. It's really interesting. Apparently, Zheng Garcia put up a $15,000 reward for anybody that could demonstrate measurable curvature using 2 independent techniques. Whatever they were doesn't matter, but as long as you could demonstrate it with 2 independent techniques, you could get you 15 grand. Some guy claimed the 15 grand, and it went to court because Zheng Garcia said, you haven't got that, you're not proving curvature. There's something wrong. Don't know the ins and outs of it. I just know there's something wrong. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it in the next couple of hours. But anyway, point is, Zheng Garcia won. The guy failed to prove curvature in the same way that Slice Barkane failed to prove curvature with his water test that he was trying to do. So if you haven't checked it out, check out Zheng Garcia's legal battle thing. It's really interesting.
You're saying that the ruling went in favour of flat Earth?
It went in favour of flat Earth because the ball earther that claimed curvature failed to demonstrate proof that the Earth was measurably curved.
And this was in a court of law.
Wow, so curvature lost in court, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah, curvature lost in court, yeah.
Yeah, there is no curvature. That's why Earth curve lost, because there wasn't any to measure.
The law doesn't determine what facts are.
Here we go. Good morning, Brenda.
Brenda's ready for another beating.
Hold on, that's a fair point. The law doesn't determine reality. I would agree with that. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
No, but it does decide matter of facts.
Yeah. Fact. No curve was proven.
Have you read the opinion?
Well, no. Fact. No curve was proven.
It was a decision.
No curve was proven. That's what was legally adjudicated.
Is that why, or was there some legalistic reason why? Like maybe it wasn't really a bet.
He measured curvature, and when the judge was asked to determine whether or not the claim of measuring curvature was actually true, the judge said, "No, there's no curve. You haven't proven that there is measurable curvature." So Zheng Garcia won. In other words, ball earthers failed to prove curve.
Yeah. Do you have a link to that somewhere?
Yeah.
Sure, hopefully someone will pop it in the Discord server so you can have a look at it. But yes, excellent day for flat Earth. Terrible day for anybody who claims there's measurable curvature. This guy thought he'd measured it, went to court and lost.
You want to?
Isn't that every day for flat Earth?
Since you agree that the court rulings don't determine facts of the world.
No, but in this case,
if he had proven curvature, he would have won, right, Brenda? If he had a curvature,
not necessarily.
he probably would have won, right?
No,
Brenda's right. Brenda's right. All it proves is that this instance where a chap claimed to have measured curvature to the point where he was prepared to fight in court to demonstrate that he'd measured curvature was proven that he had not measured curvature. That's what it proves.
Right.
So
you can fix that however you want, Brenda.
So the evidence against this cognitive process.
You want
Brenda,
to
you
let
can
my
always
screen,
appeal
Nathan?
it.
Sorry, I've got your screen up. Yes, Ranty, you presented.
So this is obviously the ticket that you get at the end. You know, what's the judgment? So this is from the judgment. This is, I think it's William Thompson versus Zheng Garcia. Then Zheng Garcia is obviously the defendant. It is ordered that the judgment is entered in favour of the defendant, i.e. the flat earther. And scroll down, we can see that it's stamped. You can find out the date, which was yesterday. And this court case, I'm sure, will make international headlines at some point.
So in the Discord chat, I've put the link for everybody in the Discord. They might want to go and have a read of it. There's more to this. It's going to come out more in the next few days, but it's not very good if you guys can't demonstrate to a standard which is like the legal standard that we are actually living on a curved surface. Because it's all right arguing that we do on YouTube, but when you guys claim that we should go and write an article and submit it to Nature, that's not the standard. The standard is to get it decided in a court of law, which is what my position's been from day one, because they do decide the matters of fact.
Law is not a standard.
Yeah, it is. It's the only standard, and science is subject to it.
No, that's false.
You don't have to like it.
You can pass a law and declare and demand that the tides not come in, but they'll still come in.
It's not about law.
Bit like the law of gravity.
Brenda, take it up with the judge, Brenda.
Hold on. Sorry, there's no precedence being set here. There's no laws being laid down. It's a judgment. Do you not know the difference?
No, it's still a judgment by a court of law. It doesn't change reality.
Yeah, but
no, but it does change.
Sorry, I just want to get that nipped in the bud. You said you can make a law that will tell the tides not to come in, but they still will. No laws are being made. What's being adjudicated and judged?
Aware of that.
Yeah, I'm still talking. You're not aware of it because you used an equivalence that was about a man in a courtroom presumably making a law that the tides shouldn't come in, which isn't what's happening here. It's a judgment against the idea that measured... Brenda, I'm still talking.
She's equivocating.
Nathan, there are long pauses.
I'm still talking, Brenda. I'm still talking. I'm still in the middle of a sentence, Brenda. What's your malfunction? Yeah, Brenda, I'm still talking. Yeah, so I'll just state it again. What's been adjudicated is a claim by a gentleman that you can measure curvature. He's claimed to have measured it. It's been adjudicated by a judge who judged that no curve was measured. Simple.
She's equivocating with the word law. Hold on.
Nathan,
you're equivocating with the word law, human law versus natural law. It's just as simple as that.
I just want to say this, Nathan, there's long pauses. I think the beginning of your sentences are not getting broadcast. So I'm hearing a long pause and then talking. And then when you talk, then I stop. So
we'll fix your mic.
It's a lag issue. It's a lag issue or a mic issue.
It's not lagging with anyone. It's a crock. So, like I said, you're equivocating fallacy with the term law, human law versus natural law. It's just as simple as that.
Equivocating on law. It doesn't. Right. The rulings, the judgments of the law, whether it's a law that has been passed or a judgment of a court, does not determine what the reality is.
Doesn't deal. No kidding. I just said you're equivocating between human law and natural law.
Right.
I'm not equivocating.
Yeah, you are.
God.
What you're doing is you're saying you can't lay down a law in law and it be a natural law. Well, those two things are completely different. So you are indeed equivocating. It doesn't matter how much you deny it.
I'm saying you can't lay down in law or judgment of a court to determine what reality is. Both of them are wrong.
Whatever, you're an idiot.
Brenda, this one went our way. Maybe the next one goes your way. It's no big deal. Deal with it.
Have you figured out the phenomena yet?
I don't know that it went quote unquote your way because I haven't seen it. So I don't know about that. And I doubt.
Do you want to go and read it? Just go and read it, Brenda. It should only take you 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't have. I'll do that later.
Well, then let's not argue about it before you've read it. Let's not argue about it. Just go and read the judgment, and then you can come and argue about it.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't matter because
it matters to us. You lost, we won, so it matters. If you'd have won, it would be all over our faces from you. You'd be rubbing it right in our faces how you won. The judge judged the Earth was a sphere and how important it was. We're saying no. This isn't a law of nature that the judge has made. He's not making any laws. But the judgment that has passed was based on a man claiming to have measured curvature. It was deemed by a judge not to be sound. That's it.
Yeah, that might be true.
It is true. You might be because you haven't read it. So go away and read it, and then you can decide whether might is actually yes or no. You can have firm facts given to you by actually reading the information rather than arguing about it before you've actually read it. So let's move on. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
It don't. Nope.
Stationary.
Nope.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh yeah, man, so much of it. No.
No, not at all.
Any
Actually,
evidence?
I wanted to kind of talk about that, Nathan, a little bit.
Go ahead, Spurs.
Gravity, this false idea. I know we all say kind of thing, the phenomena in Cavendish is man-made, right? So what I would like to know how you would view if, say we had a man-made object, just like a car, and the car started to drive itself. Would that be classed as a phenomenon, or
no?
Or
Me like
or
Knight
what?
Rider.
Let's just
yeah.
make sure he hears the answer. Hold on. No, it wouldn't.
Okay,
Aw,
why?
come
Why
on.
would that? Okay, well, no, I'd like to know if we got an object that's doing something that we can't explain. Then,
can't
like you'd
explain
say,
it.
we'd have to look for the cause.
Well, I
right?
can explain it. Somebody made the device to be able to, on its own initiative, do things.
The program.
Okay,
Then what if
let me
that
just
wasn't?
let me give you a different way, Spurs. Science is interested in establishing the cause. Now, if you've got an autonomous vehicle that a man made,
Yep.
you already know the cause.
Yeah.
A man made it. That's why science is interested in natural phenomena, because you can try and figure out the cause of something you don't understand. But if you've built something, you understand it already. You built it.
I know,
Nathan?
but I'm saying that we know that we build things to operate in a certain way, right? So
listen, guys. Well, can I
again,
just,
if
just
you
say one thing? I just want to
someone
because I won't
Go
be here for very
on, hold
long.
on, Spurs. Go on, Ranty.
Right, I'm going to post a link in the chat because a lot of people asking for this court case, but I can't send it and have it approved. Nathan, can you approve this link, please, that I post, and then I'll shut up and let you carry on.
Yeah, there's no link to
There
the
we go.
actual court case that I've seen.
There we go. It's in the side chat now.
Yeah, I've stuck it in. Paul posted it, and I posted it in the live chat.
Sorry for that.
Sorry, Spurs. We started off
Yeah,
this
it's
with
fine,
gravity, so you're saying, from what I gather, you're saying, right, you've pulled apart Cavendish based on it not being a natural phenomena, but only exempling this mass-attracting mass with a force that's not a force, but you can think of it as a force.
No, I'm trying to nail down how we describe like I say, I mean, yes, if it's man-made, but I would have thought we build things with the idea that it would do what we built it for. So if it started to do something else, I mean, yeah, you could say, but again, the what I'm looking at is what it's doing. So let's say you had a levitating car. Okay, we know that we can't build cars that levitate. Would science look into this and say,
hold on, what you're saying is a special pleading argument. You're saying if cars started to levitate, would that be a phenomena?
To you, would that be a phenomena?
They don't, Spurs.
To you, if you saw this, things
It's
don't
special
just move
pleading.
like we're saying. But if you saw this, you would say,
do you know what special pleading means?
Or would you say, no, that's normal, man made it?
Spurs, do you know what special pleading is?
I'm not asking that. I'm saying, I'm just talking in a general sense. Okay, we're just walking down the street, me and you, and we're like, we see a car, it starts to levitate. Would we just say, oh yeah, that's normal, man's made that? We can assume that's because there must be some new technology.
I think it's safe to assume that you're dreaming. If
he
that
wants
were
a yes,
the
I'll
case.
give it him. If I suddenly saw a normal car, my car, levitating, would I say that's a phenomena? Yes, absolutely, Spurs. There you go. There's your yes.
That's my point, right? So, this is what I'm trying to get at.
But Spurs, would you consider that to be a natural phenomenon, though?
FYI, I don't own a car. Hit the super chat.
Is it a natural phenomena? Again, this is the question we have to explore, because how we understand things, cars don't levitate. So is this natural for things, objects to, whether we built it or not, is it natural for them to, do things what we don't expect? And if they don't, who answers that question?
That is a phenomena.
Science?
You're describing a phenomena. Yeah, what you're trying ham-handedly to do is describe what a phenomena is. Something that happens that you don't know the explanation of. Something happening. Yeah, a happening. Right, okay, yeah, that would be a phenomena. I've agreed.
So I'm asking now the next question.
Spurs,
Hold on,
a helicopter.
Hold on, please. So Nathan, now, who answers this question? Which department, which institution, which body, who answers? We see car floating or levitating. Who explores this question?
I'll answer it right now.
Ghostbusters.
Who? Anybody?
I'll answer-
Anybody who wants to.
Yeah.
I'll answer it right now.
I wanna see a
Okay,
logic.
okay. And how? All right, calm
First-
down. Gosh, just have a normal
Calm down, calm down.
Yeah.
Nathan, just let me know when I get
So,
back.
okay, that's good. We're finding out. So we see car levitating. We're saying anyone can check this out. But how now? How would we find out what the cause of said phenomena is?
So shout
May I
out to
talk?
Dale West Watson. Where's Peter? Says Dale West Watson. Thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, I'm
The
taking
method
too
would be
much- sorry.
science. You'd apply science. Spurs. Go ahead, 10th man.
Spurs, we already have this. It's called a helicopter. We know that the engine causes the helicopter to hover above the ground. Man made the helicopter, man made the engine. So if man finds technology that can cause a car to levitate, it'd be the same category.
It would still be a phenomenon.
A helicopter's not a phenomenon.
Of course it is.
We already know the cause of the effect.
That's
Man,
not a
man made
phenomena,
it. That's
Brenda.
precisely
That's
what
a
10th man
phenomenon,
just said. Did you not listen to literally a word he just said?
Everything you said is wrong. You people are morons. You're
Oh,
complete
shut
idiots.
up, Brenda.
Brenda,
No,
who
it's
thinks
check it out.
somebody's
You don't
spiraling
know
out
it.
of
You don't know it.
Everyone calm down. Check out how quickly it went from Brenda's argument being obliterated to her calling us morons. Right. Helicopter's not a natural phenomena. It's a man-made device. It's not a phenomena. It's not something we need to suddenly science. We know what caused helicopter.
A phenomenon is anything that is observed to occur or to exist. Helicopters exist, therefore they're a
Wow,
phenomenon.
here we go again.
No.
Like a shoe, right?
No, that's wrong.
Everything is a phenomena, according to Brenda. Everything.
Right, your phenomena is also known as your dependent what? Variable. So something just being there, it's not varying, right? So what you're going to figure out, the cause of what nothing happening? No, phenomena is an occurrence. It's something that you need to figure out the cause of, an effect. It's an effect. It's not something like a shoe. That's just idiotic. So yeah, we've had enough of your nonsense, Brenda.
It's not nonsense. It's just how the word is used. It's
Yeah,
the
by fundies, it's used however you like. When you want to assert that you're going to
she's
figure out...
using it colloquially. We're talking about science, and she's using phenomenal colloquially. How dishonest can you be, Brenda?
It's not that it's colloquial. It's that they turn concrete nouns into phenomena. So, for example, but not limited to, a picture of a building in the distance at about 18 miles. Now, any rational, normal person would say building, noun. There it is, I see it. Now, fundies, globe heads, specifically need to turn that into a phenomena so they can start applying what seems like science, not science, actually pseudoscience and mathematics, but they need it to be a phenomena, that concrete noun. So, of course, the fundie that turns nouns into phenomena is going to assert that they can be phenomena. No, they can't. There's nothing happening. A building is just a building.
They simply are.
Simply are
You're
what?
simply wrong, Nathan. You're simply wrong, Nathan. A phenomenon in the scientific context is something that is observed to occur or to exist. That's all it means. Anything that happens or that exists. So a car sitting alongside the road doing nothing is a phenomenon.
Okay, no worries. Give us, what's the cause of car sitting there doing nothing? Do you need to science this? What's the hypothesis for car sat there doing nothing?
The cause? It's the material that it's made out of.
So what you're saying is steel causes car?
No, the atoms shaped the way they are, cause it to be a car.
I don't find cars buried in the ground shaped the way they are, you stupid muppet.
That doesn't mean it. Yes, you do find them buried in the
Hold
ground.
on.
It's
so
called
what
iron.
you're saying
It's
is,
called iron.
hold on.
It's
Let's just
taken
get,
out
hold
of
on,
the ground by
hold on.
humans and
Let's get your
formed into the shape
hypothesis.
of a car.
Stop. So your hypothesis, science car just sat there, is molecules and the shape they are cause car. That's not the cause of car sat there.
No,
for a start.
molecules. Well, for one, you're cutting in and out. And the other, yes, the molecules cause the physical entity we call a car.
No, men building it cause the car. Men taking those elements, forging them, bending them, shaping them, pressing them, tooling them, machining them, that caused the car to eventually be sat there. So your science for a non-phenomena is essentially useless because it didn't establish the cause of the car, which was men putting it together after utilising the materials at their disposal. So this is nonsense. In application, when you claim a non-phenomena, a concrete noun, is worthy of science, you get to the kind of nonsense that Brenda's just spewed up, which is to say that atoms and their structures cause a car. No, well, any rational, normal person will realise that that's utter nonsense.
No, well, then you need to inform, for example, Aristotle, because as Aristotle says, you know, the things that something is made out of are its material cause. The effective cause would be the person shaping the material.
You want to give me a citation for that, please?
That's just Aristotle.
Yeah, I know who you said it was.
Just look up.
It's
just look up
philosophy.
Hold on,
Philosophy.
Owen. Hold on. Don't tell me to look.
Material, effective, and
Brenda,
cause.
listen to what you're being asked. Don't just rumpus when you're losing. Please, can you cite that?
I'm not losing anything.
Just cite it.
This is entertainment for me. You people are idiots.
So I'll ask you again, then I'll just mute you because you're useless. Can you cite what you've just claimed, please?
Yes.
Excellent.
Aristotle's 4 causes: material, effective, proximate.
Don't want you to repeat it.
Final.
Don't want you to repeat it.
That's
Do you know
the
what?
citation.
That's not a citation. That's you repeating your claim. I'd like you to support it with a citation that I can read. Don't just talk over me. You haven't produced a citation. Please, can you produce a citation, not a repetition of your claim? Thank you.
Yeah. It's Aristotle's 4 causes: material, effective,
Get it! Don't talk.
and
Get it.
final. Just
go.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and repeat 5 times that I wanted to actually cite what she's claimed. No, that's not going to happen. No, that's the end of Brenda. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Trying, but no.
You can't try that. You can't
Working
even try
on it, they might say.
Working
on it, but no.
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah, okay. They can work on violating a law of nature. Meanwhile, I'll say it holds true, and sky is not a vacuum.
You try to violate the law of nature, you're just going to end up violating yourself.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Nope.
Nope. That concludes the housekeeping.
Nope.
Yay.
Okay, so Nathan, let's get back to this because for me, we have a bit of a problem if they are able to prove Cavendish in a vacuum, because we would have to try to explain how these two masses, these two objects are moving towards. I mean, right now, when we see Cavendish outside of a vacuum, we can just say things like, oh, magnetism, electric, atmosphere.
Spurs, can I ask you a question, Spurs?
You may go in. Is
gravity a force?
Well, man-made.
Hold on,
You may
Chocolate.
say
Just let him
man-made.
get to the end of his question, Chocolate, then ask him your question.
The reason I asked you, sorry,
I didn't hear the end of your question. Just last 5 to 10 words.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say is, when we look at Cavendish now, okay, so you might say, we might say, oh, well, man made that, man made this device. The phenomena is in the man-made device, but things don't just move. Whether we make them, they have to be made in a way to make them move. Otherwise there's a force or something, whether it be electric, magnetism, or atmosphere, heat, whatever. So beyond man-made, this what do you say the cause of the balls moving? I know you say man. I'm saying, but what's the if you were to break this down and say, well, I know the cause of why they're moving, what would you, if you know what I mean? Yeah.
Same as the cause when you listed a car that's autonomous, Spurs, let me just answer your question. This will take a couple of minutes. So, if you're trying to establish the cause of something, the first step in the method used to adjudicate cause and effect relationships, the scientific method, the first step is to observe a natural phenomena. So, what you're asking me is, what is the explanation for this third step claimed to be the first step? So, in that being the case, that the first step is observe a phenomena, what is the phenomena that is being observed in the Cavendish quote-unquote experiment? What's the phenomena? That's the question.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
Well, just answer.
But I'm trying to take it away from that and just say, like I say, if we saw a car levitating.
No. Spurs. Don't take me onto a car. Just listen to my question again. You're asking me what I would do to establish the cause of the balls moving. And I'm saying, Spurs, if we're trying to establish cause, which is what you're asking for, there's a method already established that's empirical that adjudicates cause. So just, I'm going to have to get you to acknowledge each step now. So do you understand that if we're looking for cause, there's a method for doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Fine. So we've got a method that we will apply. Now, in that method that adjudicates cause, what you're looking for with these balls apparently, its first step is to establish the phenomena. It will become your dependent variable. So next question, just need a yes or no. Do you understand now that the first step in this empirical method is to establish your dependent variable, otherwise known as phenomena?
Yes, I get that. I get what you're saying.
Okay. So given that we have a method...
Yeah, and again, I've already argued this. That's why I said we can't...
I said it would take a couple of minutes, Spurs. I'm not at the conclusion yet. So yes, you understand that this method requires you to first observe a natural phenomena. Yes, you've already said yes. Spurs.
Yes, absolutely.
You do. Great. Absolutely. So first step, observe a phenomena so that we can apply an empirical method to establish cause. Step 1, look at a phenomena. What is the phenomena we are observing?
Again, like I said, you're going to say, I know this argument. It's not a natural, like we don't see things in, but then again, this is what I'm asking. Do things just move?
Asking
now,
Spurs, you're making a new question to answer, aren't you?
Because I already know the answer, but I'm
why don't you give it
to
me?
establish.
Well, just give it me. I'll ask again. Don't sidetrack. I know this isn't your argument, Spurs. There's nothing personal. You don't have to dance around like they do. So, what is the natural phenomena we're observing, Spurs? In this Cavendish experiment, quote unquote.
Yeah, they're moving towards each other. Yeah, there's an attraction or supposed attraction. Yeah.
So we're observing this where in nature?
Nowhere, I know, but this is what I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't hear you, Spurs.
So even when
Spurs. So step 1, observe a natural phenomena. Where is it observed?
Nature. Yeah.
I'm asking you where is the phenomena we're going to be trying to figure out the cause of observed?
So it's in the Cavendish. You see the balls moving, but yes.
Okay, hold on, Spurs. Spurs. Come on, play fair. I just need an answer to my question, not a load of hyperbole. You're asking me to explain this, and I'm taking painstaking efforts to explain it to you. So no hyperbole, just... We observe it where, Spurs? In the balls in an experiment, you say?
Stop then. Stop.
No, why are you doing Spurs? Let me try one more time.
Hold on. No, Nathan, hold on. Because this is wrong. This is not what I'm asking.
I'm asking you. Spurs, you're not asking me. No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you where we observe it in nature. And you're now dancing around. You've already answered. In the balls in the experiment, correct? Yes.
But this is not what. It's not an experiment. This is stop.
Spurs, why are you asking me? Spurs, answer your own bloody question because you're becoming intolerable. Just answer it yourself. Why are you asking me to get involved? Yeah, it's not like this is the 50th time I've gone through it on this show. You're asking me to explain it. I'm taking you through it, but you're just fighting against me while I do so. So just answer it yourself then.
I'm not asking that, Nathan.
I am.
I'm saying forget
I'm asking you. Try and pay attention to what's going on. I'm asking you, given that you claimed the Cavendish needs an explanation of cause, where we apply step 1 of the method to adjudicate cause. So, where's the observed phenomena? Just tell me, Spurs. Just answer me.
In the balls moving. Yeah.
Oh, so let me get it straight. At step 1, we've already got a step 3 of an experiment rather than a natural phenomena to observe. Well, no, we don't observe the experiment until step 3, when we form the experiment based on the hypothesis. We don't make a little test and then claim that that's a natural phenomena. So it seems that you've got a step 3 before a step 1. First step, observer. Just go and explain it to yourself, Spurs. Either you can listen to me, give you the answer to your argument, or you know it already and this is a pointless conversation.
Go on, say it because
I'm trying. I'm trying, Spurs. You're preventing me.
You're turning your ball apologism is turning you into a baller.
Yeah, you're becoming a rumpusing baller while I'm giving you your bloody answer. So this is the most convoluted, drawn out, supposed to be simplistic explanation for a fellow flat earther to follow. Instead, you're making it convoluted by rumpusing me. Yeah,
exactly. It sounds like you've actually. It sounds like you're actually a globe troll. I'll be honest, and I know you're not, but it sounds that way.
Listen to what I'm asking.
You're not Spurs. This is the 4th time. The 4th time. You're not asking the question. You've already asked it. What's the cause of the balls moving? And we're getting to the answer in this process of me asking you where step 1 is adhered to. And in that method, step 1 is to go out into nature and observe a phenomena. Simple. Whereas when I get the answer from you or Johnny Globehead, they say we observe it in the experiment. Well, we haven't even formed the hypothesis yet. How can we possibly have an experiment to observe a phenomena in? We don't observe phenomena in experiments. We formulate hypothesis after observing phenomena. And if you're going to tell me to look in a magic test that shouldn't be developed yet, given that we haven't formulated a hypothesis, we're still at step 1, it immediately implodes on itself as pseudoscience. So we're trying to explain a phenomena that's conjured in the test itself. Well, we don't need the phenomena to give us we don't need the test to give us the phenomena. We need the test to explain the cause of the phenomena, not conjure it. So we first observe natural phenomena, not man-made shit that a man has made and said, why does this do this? Like you've done with your car. Why does the car drive itself? Well, it's got an algorithm that you programmed into it. Why do the balls move? Well, because you suspended them on a little bar. That's why. You put together something that apparently does something. We don't observe any. This is the conclusion, for the love of fuck. We don't observe what they claim happens in the test anywhere in nature. That's the main point, you rumpusing little sod. Yeah, don't ruin the point. So they say go to test, go to 3, not 1. When step 1 demands we see it in nature. And we don't. We only observe it in their circus sideshow experiment, which it isn't. That comes after hypothesis and after observing phenomena. And when we ask them to actually show us where it happens in nature, what will they do? They'll pick something up, man picking something up, and drop it, man dropping it. Yeah, that's what they'll do. Oh, there you go. There's a force. The Earth's a sphere, and it's attracting that thing I've picked up and dropped that was formerly in perfect equilibrium. So we don't see a natural phenomena of mass attracting mass. It's only observed in the outmoded, outdated Cavendish quote-unquote experiment, which it isn't. There you go, Spurs. Have at it. I'm done.
I wasn't exactly describing an experiment, but this is what I was trying to outline initially with the car. A car levitating is not an experiment. All I was asking, who explores the cause of this? You're saying, well, there's an algorithm.
I answered this already.
How do we
listen to the answer? Anybody who wants to. You see a phenomena and you want to figure out what the cause of it, you can apply a method. Anybody who wants to. Anybody can apply a method.
Oh, this is my point. The ball earthers are saying they're seeing something akin to a car levitating. They're saying, well, the balls are moving towards each other. How is this happening? There seems to be this attraction. Now, what I'm saying is that the cause would be...
You're missing the point that the word is natural phenomenon versus...
I hear, but where I'm coming from...
Can I finish? Let me finish. The scientific method is not used for man-made objects. It's used what you sense in nature, naturally happening. Nathan is asking you, when do we see two balls doing what Cavendish claims? In nature, natural phenomenon. We don't. So you can't bring the scientific method into it. However, if you want to do all these different tests...
This question, do you not hear what I said? I said, who answers this question then? This is not a scientific method question, is it?
Shut up! I'm answering it. Shut up.
You told me things I already know.
My gosh, you're a brick.
Okay, so yes, it is a scientific method question because you're asking for the cause. So yes, you can apply science because you're trying to establish the cause of something. Apparently, an effect that you've got.
He said this only for nature. Now you're saying the method can be applied to this. So which is it?
Yeah.
This is my point. I said, who answers this question?
Anybody.
If car is levitating, who answers the question? He's saying, well, it's not a scientific method question. Well, then who answers it then?
You've got
science can't explain everything. You can only explain those things you can actually very manipulate.
There's an answer. There is an answer. Spurs, there's an answer.
You've just said anybody, and he's just said, oh, you can't answer the scientific method. Well, then what do? Car levitates, balls move. Who answers the question?
I'm answering you. Now, there's two different scenarios. One I conceded after formally...
Well, now there's two.
Spurs, please
so you
be
just
patient.
That there for no reason when I asked a very simple question about something moving. I didn't say it was an experiment.
Can you settle down, please, Spurs?
Car levitating first. Car levitating is not an experiment, is it?
Yeah, I heard your question. Spurs, I heard your question. Yeah, I heard your question.
So
I'm trying to answer it.
Question? Says,
yeah, you keep asking the same question, Spurs. Calm down, please. So, Spurs, the question you're asking has one of two different solutions depending on your special pleading. I asked you if you understood what special pleading was and you deviated away. That's the problem here.
I'm not asking that, Nathan. You're changing my question.
You haven't listened to my...
very simple,
Spurs,
specific.
It's going to take more than 25 seconds. You can either listen to it or you can ruin the point. It's up to you. I prefer you just listen to the answer and patiently stayed on mute while I give you an answer. So we've got two scenarios based on your special pleading. One is that the car levitates. It's special pleading because they don't bloody levitate. If you don't get that, then fine. Look up special pleading. No problem. In any event, either it's levitating because a man in the future designed a levitating car, in which case you've got a man-made occurrence and does not need science. Exactly the same as the Cavendish balls. A man put them together. They don't need any explanation. Or the other side of your special pleading, which is that a car, but could equally be a rock, suddenly starts to levitate. Not because a man designed that rock or car to levitate, but because my car that I don't own, smash the super chat, starts to levitate. Well, if my car, a normal car that's not designed to levitate, started to levitate, then it would be a natural phenomena. A man hasn't caused that to happen. Now, it might be that you start to apply science and find that somebody's actually done something to the ground underneath the pavement, and it is actually a man-made phenomena. Therefore,
or it would be Magneto.
It could be Magneto. Therefore, man. Mutant. Not real. Anyway, so let's brush past Darwin's slightly distracting but comical aside. You've got either a special pleading that is natural, therefore can have science applied to figure out the cause of the effect of things magically and spontaneously levitating, or you've got a car that levitates and a man designed it to do so, which is the case with the Cavendish experiment. A man made it.
No. What if a gust of wind, a natural phenomenon, just lifted the cars up? Did man cause that to happen?
Well, sorry, a gust of wind, you've already given us the cause. If there was a hurricane lifting a car out of the bloody air, you'd know what caused it, wouldn't you?
But how would I know it was a gust of wind? Did I just guess? Unless I know what wind is and I actually researched what wind is and it was actually wind, how would I know that? Am I just assuming it's wind?
Well, that's what science does. So you have an independent...
You just said I can't use science on something that's
I'm trying to
levitating,
answer you,
man-made.
and you're telling me what I can't do while I bloody answer you. So Spurs, yes, that's how science adjudicates cause, by isolation of variables. So if you have multiple things that could be causing the effect of a car levitating, you can isolate them down to just one, in this case wind, potentially with something like a wind tunnel, and then blow on the car with a gale force wind until it lifts off the ground, thus establishing, given that there's no other factors like magnetism involved, that the cause of the effect that you watched a car levitate because a wind took it off the ground would be established with some sort of scientific validity. You could equally do it with anything else like a piece of paper. Going to the elaborate methods of putting a car in a wind tunnel, for me, isn't really necessary given that I know what wind is. But in your example, you could scientifically validate wind as the cause of the effect of uprooting trees and getting them to fly. Yes, you could do that, scientifically. However,
Yes,
if the car was designed by a man to levitate, then you're not going to be establishing scientific validity to wind now, are you? Because some man came along and made it do that with wires and stuff.
All right, so again, I don't know if I probably wasn't clear. Okay, so I said the word levitating. I'm just saying that because we don't know what I meant was car was off ground, wasn't off ground. It's not on the ground, sorry. So the question I was asking, who answers this question? 10th man said nobody from the scientific method can answer this question because it's man-made. And I was saying, well, if the car's floating, I don't know if it's floating. I don't know what it's doing. It's just not on the ground. It could be wires. It could be the wind. Now I'm asking, who answers this? What method do we follow? And I already know the answer to this. I'm saying I already understand it, which is why
What's
I'm saying
the answer?
Cavendish.
Hold on, what's the answer?
If we look at the same.
If you know the answer, what is the answer? That's the most critical bit here. What's the method and the person that can apply an empirical way of finding out what caused that car to fly? What's the method? Who can apply it? That's your question. If you know the answer, tell us.
We would follow the scientific method, no?
Yeah, and who can do that?
Well, this is what I asked.
And who can do that?
No, I asked you in the first place.
Who? You were asking us and got really stroppy. I'll do the same to you. Who? Come on, Spurs.
Okay, sorry. Okay, 10th man. Who can answer this question?
You. I'm asking you.
You said the scientific method.
You said you knew the answer, Spurs.
He said the scientific. No, I'm sorry.
Who?
Sorry, I thought you said it can't be answered with the scientific method. It was 10th man. He said it can't be answered with the 10th.
There's confusion.
So who answered this question?
Anybody, if depending.
I'd like to know. No,
I'm trying to answer you. Give me 3 words. It entirely, for the second time, depends on which side of your special pleading you are using. So we have to clarify, is your case using special pleading an actual scenario that's natural? Or is it a man-made scenario where a car's designed to levitate? If you answer the former, oh, it's a natural phenomena, the car's not designed to fly, but there it is flying, then yeah, you can absolutely apply a method called science to figure out the cause of that effect. If it's a man that made it, he's going to rumpus the main point every time, isn't he? He's just like a baller. If, on the other hand, like the Cavendish experiment, it's doing it because a man made it to do that, then there is no natural phenomena.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. When ball earthers see Cavendish, they're saying, well, man is not the cause of the two balls. We're saying, well, of course it is. Of course it's man. But they've now just, I haven't spoken with a few ball earthers. They haven't removed all the variables to establish, is it the wind? Is it electric? Is it magnetism? This is what I'm trying to ask, like you. It's not an experiment per se, but if you saw two balls moving, who answers this question? Can we go about finding out what is the cause of the two? And you should say something like, well, yeah, it's the wind, electric, magnet. And the ball earthers then could come in and say, well, no, we've ruled out for that. And then now we have an understanding with the ball earthers that this is a phenomena that needs explaining. To you, it's not a phenomena because you know the answer, Nathan.
Does this ever have an end, this statement? Does this ever have an end? Yeah, they want it to be a phenomena, Spurs. It isn't. Yeah? That's why it failed when I asked you to describe the phenomena that we observed in nature. You immediately told me it was the balls themselves. The apparatus is the phenomena. That's what you told me. So it fails at step 1. Because why do they move? A man built them to do that. That's what caused it. How did they start moving? Well, but for the fact that a man put them together that way, they would just be on the ground doing nothing, wouldn't they, Spurs? So what's the cause of them doing that? A man putting them together was the cause. We know with absolute certitude. If it wasn't for the man stringing them up on a torsion balance, then they wouldn't be doing that. Now, if you're going to apply a method that wants to know the cause of an effect we observe in nature, then we don't need that method, because we already know what caused it. The man that put it together caused it, Spurs. So if you're going to tell me that we need to immediately hurry on to conclusion stage at stage 4 because they've claimed they've got an experiment, which they call it, then they're lying. Deluded pseudo-scientists. Because they can't get past... I knew it. Because they can't get past step 1. Observation of natural phenomena. They don't have one, Spurs.
I'm not even arguing with you, okay, on this. There's no disagreement here. I'm not talking as if this Cavendish is an experiment. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, so to you, then this is there's an argument for the ball earthers now. You're saying, I know why they're moving.
I didn't say that. Now you're just inventing shit that I haven't said. Did I say I know the cause? No.
You said the cause is man.
No. I said man's made that thing to do what it does. That's the cause. I'm not saying it could be the wind. You're asking for the cause after the man's done. Why are you rumpusing me? Right, you said it could be the wind, it could be this, and you say you know the cause. No, man made it. It's a man-made device. End of explanation. Man made it. So anything further to the man...
You can't say that, Nathan.
Why can't I say that? Is it not true? Why can't I say that? Is it...
You can't
Listen,
say
stop
that
rumpusing!
The car is floating.
Oh, somebody shut him up. He's doing my fucking head in. Why can't I say a man made it?
Said if car is floating, then it's because of the wind.
Talking about Cavendish.
Man didn't make
Stop jumping everywhere. Why are you doing this dancing around nonsense? Listen to my question again. We're talking about Cavendish, not cars. I say man made it. You said you can't say that.
Because that's not you can't say that because the cause is not man making it moving. The cause of it being built is man, but the reason why it moves is not man. So they say there's another force that's causing it to move. Again, the same thing.
I know. I don't need it 5 more times, Spurs. Yes, I know. They ignore the part where a man makes it and then start asking questions about something they've made. Don't they, Spurs?
Yes. Yes.
So not a natural phenomena. They're asking you to give an explanation for something that they have made. And when you say, where's the natural phenomena we observe? They say, in these balls I've made. And every time they don't say, because they're not like me, and point out that they've made it, they just say, no, ignore, and again they don't say this, ignore that I've made it, and just explain why it's doing what it's doing. So, Spurs, I'll try the same thing with you and we'll see how we get on, if I don't get interrupted, which I probably will. So, Spurs, we've got an autonomous car. You explain why it does what it does.
Any number of reasons.
Give me one. Any.
Could be any number of reasons. Like I said, it could be something in nature or something that man applied to it, right?
It could be. You think an autonomous car could have come out of nature?
No, man made the car.
No. Stop. No. We will ignore that man made the car. You're just going to explain why it drives itself. And like with Cavendish, I will demand that you can't just point out that a man made it. So, no, that's not going to be an answer to this argument, Spurs. You're going to explain why the car drives itself. Because it's basically got a spirit. It's got its own cognition, hasn't it? It drives itself. So, don't appeal to man making it. That's not allowed, is it, Spurs? Shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat that says, test the globe by measuring 2 points between water. Absolutely. Earth is seriously flat. Thanks for the super chat. So, you can't appeal to man making anything in the autonomous car. You've just got to explain why it does what it does. Go ahead.
Again, we're just... You know when people say things like they can move things kinetically or something like this? So all I'm saying is that we can rule out whether it's natural, whether it's, man is the cause.
No, man,
like
we're going to ignore that. No. This is natural. This is worthy of science, right? We're going to ignore that man made the car and designed the algorithms and programs and circuitry and machines to build the car in the first. We're going to ignore all of that and only focus on the aftermath of the man making it, because obviously that's natural and science worthy. So without saying a man made a chip with sat-nav in it, explain why it can drive itself. Like I've got to do with Cavendish for some reason. I'm not allowed to say a man just made it, apparently.
Okay, so you're saying that it's got all of these algorithms.
No, that's man. No, ignore that bit. Ignore the algorithms that man made. Just explain why it drives itself. Why is it doing that? Forget the man bit.
You've just told me. Yeah, you've told me why it's moving.
No, I'm asking you why it drives itself. It's got a brain of its own. It's like a natural phenomena, right? It's driving itself. Explain why.
I'm asking how will we know that, mate?
Because I can see it. There's a Google car outside right now driving itself. No man in it. It's just driving itself. It's like ethereal. It's amazing. Now I want you to explain it without saying man made it.
What can that be? That's not the question.
It's my question. I'm saying, yeah, it's the same as yours. It's a juxtaposition between you asking me why Cavendish does what it does and not allowing me to say, yeah, because a bloody man made it, and me saying the same exact scenario but with a car. So a man's made a car that's designed to drive itself. Like Cavendish made some balls designed to smash into each other after a very prolonged period in a shed with rats running around and all sorts of other variables not isolated and not a phenomena to observe in the first instance, just a circus, sideshow, parlour trick. Now, you apparently won't let me say, well, Cavendish put it together in a shed, but for the fact that he put it together, they wouldn't be attracting one another. We don't see that in nature. I'm not allowed to say that, apparently. I've got to explain, after the man's made it, why it does what it does. And I'm demanding that you explain why the car does what it does without appealing to a bloody man making it. But before you do, shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat for the super chat. It said, Globos defense indoctrination itself. And then a lady a rocket, and a clown. Thank you very much for your support. Earth is seriously flat.
It's seriously flat, Nathan. But again, you're saying to me, I have to challenge you on this. I'm sorry, sir, but you're saying that it's designed to do something. To do this. Listen to your words, the key words. Now, what if you design something not?
No, the car's not designed. You can't appeal to a man designing stuff in that car. You just got to explain why it drives itself. It's not designed. Forget the man bit, right? Cavendish wasn't designed. You just got to explain why the Cavendish balls attract one another, apparently. Forget the design to do that bit, the man bit. You just got to explain the outcome after the man's made it. So just explain why the car drives itself. Forget the designed bit, because that's a man, isn't it?
Oh, again, if you, I don't know. That's I think for me, this will show whether force is a real thing or this mass attracts mass. Because if you design, you've said it yourself, it's designed. You think, or you're saying, you could be right. I agree to some degree. It's designed to show, so they attract. So, what I would ask you then, is there a way to make it equal, to make it fair, or are you just saying this? If man touches it, it's always going to attract regardless.
Okay, I'm being told off by Lone Hyena, who says, shout out to Spheres Chemo. Thanks for the super chat, Lone Hyena. Sorry.
No way. Not at all.
But do you understand now, given that I've dragged it out enough time now, that if I demand that you explain why a car drives itself when it's been designed to do that, that's perfectly reasonable to do, or easy to explain why it drives itself without appealing to it being designed to do that?
Oh, I hear what you're saying, but you and I both know there were certain things. So I could be even talking about, like you said, the spiritual ghost world. You're saying it doesn't exist. Fine. How do we rule those things out? That's all. That's all we're asking. Who looks at those things? So if you're saying, again, the balls are moving because it was designed to do like that, is it possible that we can design it in a way where it's not supposed to be like that? And then we can find out if they would do that, and then we can just rule out there is no force, end of subject.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to achieve here.
Look up special pleading, Spurs. Special pleading.
Hashtag hug a baller.
And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. However, if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, tuned in, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Obviously, a massive, huge thank you also to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching the premiere stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
To move, and if it didn't move, if it moved, like a cop is not designed to move. A car, these things,
Have you looked
so
up special
about
pleading yet? Have you looked up special pleading?
Not yet. I will do that.
Have a look now.
But I'm not pleading for anything here. I'm not asking. I'm saying this in order to show there is no force, because I'm saying that even from their perspective, to show if there were a force, they're not doing it in the right way. So they haven't eliminated all the variables anyway, and we haven't seen this in a vacuum. The one variable that would cause these balls to move, even if it were man-made.
Hold on with the vacuum. That's not a natural environment, so that's outside of natural science.
Right. The other thing is, you're saying you're appealing to an effect, but gravity is claimed to be a cause. So typically you'll have the example of something that you observe, an effect, in this case a non-effect of a man-made circus show, sideshow parlour trick, and they'll say, there's your effect, what's the cause? Well, gravity. But now you're appealing to gravity as an effect, which we don't observe.
I'm saying that it's no effect, it's not an effect.
So nothing to worry about
So I
then,
want to
Spurs.
share.
If there's no effect, it's like shoe. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm back. I got kicked off twice or fell off. I can't figure out why, but Spurs misquoted me there in the past.
Okay. What did he say?
Am I heard?
Well,
yeah, you're heard, but
he's talking again.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, Nick.
Spurs, what I'm experiencing with you on this call is you holding two thoughts or positions at the same time in your mind. If you don't have a base, if you don't have a foundation, if you don't have my goodness, you don't have a standard when you go into a debate or an argument for your position. These ballers have cleverly designed arguments. They'll get you thinking different ways. That's why you got to learn not to let them beg the question. Always ask for proof of what they're saying, and they will not be able to give it to you. But you allow that. So you allow their poisonous liquids to enter your mind and form a second position because you don't have a strong enough base.
Yeah. Well, my technique and method may be unorthodox, but yeah, I can enter into how they see it in order to find their truth, which is
why don't I
usually
just
false.
get cancer?
Hold on.
So I can feel what the cancer patient feels like. I'll just go get cancer. Are you crazy?
Yeah, don't
criticize
him for having empathy.
I really want to jump in when I get.
It's about an idea.
Hold on. Whoever's trying to jump in, you will get a chance after this. So you can't really knock him for having empathy. He's just got a strong sense of empathy,
No, I have empathy too, but ideas have consequences. And look at the back and forth craziness for the last hour here. The consequence of holding two ideas at the same time, not having a base or a standard.
Yeah, people do it all the time, and I thought it was incredibly useful. I mean, I'm very grateful for Spurs for holding that position, if I'm honest, 10th man. And the fact that he only holds it because of his empathy, that's his problem. He'll get abused. Sorry, Spurs, to talk about you like Naya. He'll get abused because of it. People will abuse him for his over the top empathy. Yeah, that's just how.
That's not what I'm even addressing here. I'm addressing that when he comes and wants to ask a question, he plays both sides and doesn't listen to the answers. That's why he misquoted me. He misunderstood you.
Let's make one thing clear. I'm not playing both sides. Okay, I'm asking questions. On their side. That's not playing their side. That's putting questions to them that makes them think about their reality. Okay, so if they believe there is a force, so just telling them Cavendish is, man-made, you can't use it, yeah, they'll just dismiss that. But if you have a conversation about what they believe, okay, and you say to them, okay, there's a force, let's go with it, let's try and find out if this is real. How do we test it? How do we find out if there's a real force?
There you go. How do we test it? There you go. There's your question. You've got it. How do we test it? We need to find an empirical answer to this question. So we go to the method, and the quality of the example will rise or fall based on its adherence to an empirical method. And as I did with you on the live show, when we get to step 1, it fails. Now, at that point, Spurs, if you point out that there is no natural phenomena to observe, and even the current rhetoric is there isn't a force, then at that point, you can start either laughing at them or consoling them because they still want to believe it.
Can I see if Spurs will show me empathy with a question for him? All right.
Well, can I jump?
Somebody's waiting to talk. Go ahead. Sorry, 10th man. Go ahead, my friend. You've been waiting ages.
Thank you. Sorry, 10th man. Spurs, it's Eli. What I would like to point out, or what I believe that I saw, was when you guys were going back and forth, and Nathan is bringing up the fact that you can't bring up what is man-made, but you have to explain why the car is driving itself. The issue is you can't answer that question, but you won't address the fact that you can't answer that question. That's the problem. Why are you trying to address such a nonsense question? You know the answer. It's bull crap.
I've told many of you many times, right? This is therapy for these guys. They're victims, right? They believe ghosts are real. So get them to see that ghosts are not real, I have to believe ghosts are real also, right? Okay, let's talk about your ghost. Where do you see it? I see it at night at 12 o'clock. Okay, let's go at night at 12 o'clock. So you guys see these people as something different here, where I see victims, a huge amount of victims here who you have to walk their walk. Okay, like you said, you either laugh at them for seeing ghosts. Okay, haha, you're crazy, you see ghosts, right? Or you say to them, okay, gravity, there's a force. There's this magic. In my mind, there's an imaginary force. But let's talk about this force. Let's show how we can show if ghosts or this force is real. And you're saying, well, why are you even talking about ghosts? I hear that. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I know there are no such things as ghosts or a place called Narnia. But in order to get them to see that, if I just laugh at them, they'll just think, aha, you're an idiot. You just don't get it because I see Narnia, I see ghosts.
Spurs, their own pseudoscientist priests come out and tell them that gravity isn't a force.
To them. I'm saying you're going too far because you're letting them describe to you what a ghost is, and then it's like, see, believe me now. You let them get to the end. You let them get to the finish line, and then they say, do you see what I'm seeing? You can't deconstruct their mind at that point.
No, that's what
it's already too.
That's good therapy, brother. That's what a good therapist will look at what the issue is, not deny, because we're trying to help them. That's how I see it.
Oh, hang on.
Once
Spurs, speaking of therapy, hang on. Hang on, Spurs. Speaking of therapy, we have a guy in Discord. His name is Flatten Up. He's actually trying to trigger flat earthers and ballers. So don't listen to this idiot that's in Discord. That's all. Go ahead, Spurs.
Yeah, well, look, for me, again, they're victims. Either way you look at it, they really believe they see things that they don't.
Spurs, real quick, bro. Even when their own pseudoscientists come out and tell them that gravity is not a force, they refuse to believe it. Okay? There are still ballers who are claiming that gravity is a force. Okay? So what do you do with people with that type of mentality? When they're fighting for something and it's been destroyed by the very people that gave it to them in the first place. What do you do with that, Spurs? You just keep feeling their victim status?
I don't know what it is, but I feel, like I say, if I can, and I have, the whole of Discord in Gem Server, they've lost their minds now because none of them have seen this force in a vacuum. They've showed citation. So now
well,
they're
hold
panicking.
on while I go get them a tissue. Like, come on, Spurs. Yeah. Come on, man. I understand you having empathy for these guys, but I think you're going a little bit extra.
No, hashtag hug a baller.
Sounds like you enjoy the therapy more than them, Spurs.
Hashtag hug a baller.
Oh look, it's we all are going through. We haven't seen the entire flat Earth. We haven't seen if there is what's covering us, what the container is. So we're still going through a lot of shocks. Okay, if there's a creator, that's still going to ensue a lot more shocks. We still don't know how we got here.
Whoa! If there's a creator, we already solved that problem.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen where 2 and 2 is 5 in the future, but currently it's 4.
So if you think the therapy is over, where we, as flat earthers are just, we have the answers. Once we start exploration and things like that and find out more, we'll still have to get our heads around what we discover. So the born earthers right now, they're in huge victim status right now. They're just like, what do we do? And the only way to get them to kind of admit there's no ghosts is to go where they see ghosts, right?
Okay, I'll address that. In the same way as when people try and question why the lie is in place in the first instance, in other words, the motivation behind the man or men or group of men and women that came up with the lie, you can't do it. It's a crazy task to try and question the motivation. Now, after you've elucidated the truth in this regard or highlighted where their current faith is incorrect. Once you've done that, it is not your responsibility to mop up the tears, as Chocolate puts it. You know, go and get them a Kleenex. What? No. Did somebody come along with a Kleenex for you when you suddenly had the shock and awe that it wasn't, as you were told, a sphere flying through a vacuum?
Nathan, the community mopped up for us. Look, how many times have you heard flat earthers say, I've been looking for a community, just like yourself, Nathan, to go and talk to. Look how many flat earthers just sit on the panel, okay, without the guys and the girls.
I understand.
Okay?
No, I have done something about that, though. So if you want, help in this regard, you can go to nathanoakley.com, check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. There's guidance and help in abundance. Check it out. I strongly advise you all join. Have you joined the Flat Earth Debate Forum, Spurs?
Right. But no, I'm saying that I'm happy with
Open
you,
a thread.
with Anthony, with John, with Betty. I'm happy here with the Flat Earth family. Okay, knowing that if I say something overboard, you're going to bring a family member back into check. Now, the Ball Earthers are that extended family, lost cousins who've gone somewhere. Now their minds are a little bit lost. We have different methods of trying to bring them back to reality. Right? That's all I'm trying to achieve.
No, okay. I don't see it the same way you do then. I mean, yes, you've got a lot of empathy. It's not that I don't have any, but if you're watching this and you're currently on the fence and you're like, oh, I want to see if Nathan really wants to hug me. No, I don't. I literally couldn't give a shit. If you wake up to this information tomorrow, it doesn't suddenly mean you're part of my family, you're my suddenly separated cousin. You're not me or any part of me just because you found out that they've been lying to you about the shape of the earth. That doesn't put you in allegiance with me. It doesn't mean we unite in our opinions. It just means you've recognised the obvious and observable nature of the world around you, same as I have. That's it. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not associated with anybody in this circle. And if everybody thinks, oh no, Nathan's saying it. No, I respect and appreciate my audience.
All right, Nathan, how are you keeping sane then in all of this madness, the lies, we're being lied to? When your child goes to school, I don't know if you're going to homeschool or whatever, but other children, the friends, everyone that you know is going to be like, how are you keeping sane in this environment then? How did you manage to keep sane?
I don't see it as, I don't see that, well, if you are in a position where you are subject to any sort of insanity, the best advice you'll get from anybody is get out of that situation as quickly as humanly possible. Well, what provides the insanity for us? Well, TV, newspapers, magazines, radio, the cinema, general gossip about all of the above, social media gossip about all of the above, social media coverage of all of the above. So news, all of that polluting bollocks, I cut it all out of my life. And I don't have what you describe. I don't have huge amounts of stress and turmoil in my life that I worry about it, other than what I subject myself to in this platform for the entertainment of my viewers. Now, if they come along and are on the fence and suddenly are looking for allegiances or a bloody counsellor, tough. That's not my problem. I'm sorry if you feel offended by that and you're watching. It's like, no, I am not responsible for people's feelings because they've been hurt by a liar who told them the earth was a sphere when it isn't. If you want to look for vengeance, don't look here. If you want to look for sympathy, not here. I didn't lie to you. I'm just telling the truth.
But what if you find out there's a God and a creator that demands love, Nathan? Then what?
A creator that demands love?
What then? If you realise there's a creator,
I got love for you if you were born in the 80s.
No, I'm saying if you find out there's a creator, God, and God is saying, well, love thy neighbor, all of those things, then what? Are you just going to say, well, what are you going to say? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, you love them by showing them the truth.
Exactly. I took the words out of my mouth. By pretending to somebody who has got obviously mental problems that you can entertain the idea of the ghosts. Oh, well, you show me that you're doing them no favours, entertaining their delusion. So I don't see that as positive steps, if I'm honest, Spurs. I know you do, and that's everyone's different. You see what you're doing as progressive.
I said when you're shown. I said obviously when you explore, obviously exploration will come off the back of Flat Earth, right? And obviously when this comes out mainstream, they'll be like, yeah, there is water is above the dome. There is a creator. This place was created. Will you be like? What will you be like? What will you be like?
I won't even watch. I won't have the vaguest notion what the mainstream's saying about it. And neither do I care. When you say there will be exploration, what you mean by that is the people on TV who tell us what's what will start to explore. I say if there's going to be exploration, or if I desire exploration, I'll do it. Now, that's totally irrelevant of anybody else who wants to do it. Now, does that mean others might also actually do it? Well, they might if they're so inclined. I could be that man. Someone else, Math Powerland, might be that man. He might buy that boat he's trying to crowdfund. Well, great. Good for him. And if he does, I'd love to know his outcome. But will I trust implicitly the words that he tells me if it's not thoroughly documented and evidenced? Will people trust me if I go out and declare that I've seen the edge of a dome or an ice wall? Well, maybe. Maybe not. But it's down to me and my discernment. And I don't give a toss if the mainstream tells the entire world tomorrow. Because I won't see it.
No, it's no worries, no worries. It's been a good chat anyway. We've explored the deeper regions of, because we did have two explanations with things, man-made things, doing things they're not supposed to do. We can explore whether it's, natural, which we suppose it would be. Again, that's supposing, assuming it's natural. But obviously we'd have to test that or experiment or check or whatever, something like that. So the point was, forget the word Cavendish experiment. You just have two balls on a string. They start to move. You want to say, well, man caused that. So I don't know. It's not mechanical. So a non-mechanical thing moving. But then again, it's.
Hold on, Spurs. Go on, 10th man.
Yeah.
Can you elucidate that statement? Man-made things doing what they're not supposed to do.
You know what I call that?
What?
Special pleading.
Troubleshooting. When you look at man-made things that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's called troubleshooting.
Yeah, debugging.
Yep, exactly.
Well, Spurs, what do you mean by that? Man-made things. So obviously, man-made.
I've got a great example.
Doing what they're not supposed to do. Example. What do you mean?
Let me try it. Do you play video games, Spurs?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's pick up a video game that you know that uses a map of some description. So I don't know, Zelda. Do you ever hear of that game? Nintendo game. Zelda, right?
Yeah, I played Modern Warfare, but yeah.
Modern Warfare, perfect. So in Modern Warfare,
Zelda.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Modern Warfare, if you've played it, great. So in Modern Warfare, you roll around in tanks and shoot people, right? Yeah. So if a tank in Modern Warfare started to fly, would you call that a phenomena? It's not supposed to be doing it, right? But it's not supposed to be doing that.
Of course not.
But if it's not supposed to be doing it, why would that not be called a phenomena?
I would say that's a glitch. A glitch.
A glitch in what? A man-made game? So equally.
In the game, yeah. A glitch in the game.
So is the torsion bar designed to make the balls go towards each other? Or is it just a glitch?
I was about to say, it must be a glitch then, right? But
sorry.
Or glitch.
Hold on. Yeah, Nathan? Hold on. You give the answer, then you incessantly talk afterwards. Yes. So you could attribute a glitch to the man-made device, but each time you detail something that could be a cause or a potential explanation for a cause of what the balls do, you always have the same detailed explanation for the actual cause when you detail things like a glitch. So what? An imperfection when a man made it? By chance? That sort of glitch? Or did the man intentionally design them to move towards each other?
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, I get that. I can argue this all day, but I'm not.
So ultimately, Spurs, it's always going to be the same cause. A man made it.
Yeah. Again. I'm just okay. That's fine. It was just again more just to, this was not for my argument. You're making this into my argument. It's not my argument. I'm just I suppose it is probably arguing from their perspective, but
yeah, okay.
It's more.
You're just a messenger.
More
Yeah.
No. This is more for when I get into this conversation with born earthers, and like I said, they believe in something. So it's like, how can we, dismiss that belief? Things like that.
Yeah.
So it might be begging the question to them.
I'll answer you. If they're invoking a cause, what causes these balls to move? Well, then you can apply a method. They're talking about the nature of our world, aren't they, Spurs? The outcome of this machine being something that they will assert to do with our world, something fundamental, strangely enough. This force of gravity that's not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Actually, the bending of a fourth dimension we don't experience and is only conceptual. But that aside, these outdated, outmoded concepts that aren't adhered to by the current reification fallacy model are explainable with one explanation in every instance. A man made it. But when they ask you, even though you point that out, well, what's causing X, Y, and Z, the balls to move, you can say, we have a method for adjudicating cause of natural phenomena. Now, if this isn't man-made and actually a natural phenomena, then we can apply that method. Science. Then you apply it. The first step being observe a natural phenomena. And if the answer is we observe it at step 3, well, we're not at step 3, we're at step 1, observe a phenomena. And they won't show you one. That's where it falls to pieces. So you haven't got the natural phenomena of mass attracting mass. Well, then it's not a phenomena that requires scientific investigation.
First, I posted an paragraph on Master B a couple of days ago, and I got this good argument from reading C.S. Lewis. He talks about desire and imagination do not need proof. So we use the word believe, but there is a word that you put in front of that, disbelief. So there's believing and there's disbelieving. And what he was saying is that once you've shown evidence of something that previously you believed, but the evidence is contrary, you could still desire that thing to be true. You can even imagine it to be true, but you could no longer believe it to be true because of the evidence. Does that resonate?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're talking like I'm failing to understand something. That's simply not.
But you are failing to understand something.
But that's got a term, tenth man.
When you see evidence that's contrary to your belief, you go for therapy. When we say, what could that mean? Could it mean someone lied to you? Where can we go and check this out? How can we test this?
I just want to add something.
But I still want the earth to be round. I still imagine all those things. Yeah, fine. There's no problem in your dream world, but in reality, you see the facts, right? And the guy says, yeah, I don't see a curve. 7 housekeeping questions is perfect. I don't feel the axial rotation. I don't see or feel gravity.
10th man. Yeah, you had a good point in there about disbelief. Once you've been shown that something is incorrect, you would then suspend disbelief. So we have been trained how to suspend disbelief. That's what happens when you go and watch a movie at the cinema. So you go and watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Essentially, you are being trained in the suspension of disbelief. Your mind knows the things that are on screen cannot be real, but for the purposes of indulgence, you suspend disbelief. The programming element is that there's certain aspects, a certain layer of what you are presented with is presented as real, i.e. the vacuum of space in Guardians of the Galaxy is not told to you as fiction. You're only, according to the narrative of the movie suspending disbelief about raccoon people and tree people and lasers that kill people. That's what you're apparently suspending disbelief about. In reality, you're being trained how to suspend disbelief in regards to the heliocentric religion, space. So when it comes to somebody having their position invalidated, but wanting to continue to indulge, it's because it's very easy to do so, having been trained how to suspend disbelief. There you go.
Very good. I posted 2 days ago the ad for that new movie that's coming out in September. It's called Ad Astra with Brad Pitt. Watch the trailer. They're doing it there. They're just fantasy world. You're exactly right. It's all programming.
Yeah, another reason to cut it all out of your life. You know, there's no necessity to undo training on how to suspend disbelief if you're not suspending disbelief every time you walk into a darkened room with lots of, flickering pictures.
Well, for example, we use the story of Narnia. Now, I know that C.S. Lewis wrote that as a metaphor. None of it is real. The characters aren't real. It's all fiction. I could read that story and enjoy the metaphor, but I don't believe there's Narnia.
Well, it's the allegory of the cave, right? So the cinema is essentially the cave. The worldview that you are presented with is presented through a series of images that aren't your world. You don't travel through space, but you suspend disbelief in the cave.
C.S. Lewis was a flat earther, so actually Narnia is the flat delusion, and they have to go through the wardrobe from the real globe to get there. So consider yourself enlightened on
That was the point I was
Narnia.
trying to make, was it now? But go on. We're glad to have you on.
That's what the Dawn Treader's for going to the edge of Narnia. That's the whole point of it.
Like I said, it was a metaphor. Fiction.
Sorry, that's what
I'm just saying, the flat earth bit is in the delusion through the wardrobe, where they're escaping from real life.
No, Dawn, we don't see images day in, day out presented of a worldview we never get, i.e. a sphere world. That's not Narnia. The fiction that we're presented at the cinema and on TV is a sphere world we never see. The world we are presented with is observably flat, as admitted by heliocentric priests like Neil deGrasse Tyson. So the world we are presented with is flat, but we are presented with Narnia, a sphere world, at the pictures. So you seem to be just reversing our example and saying, no, we're programmed with flat. Flat's the fantasy. You go to flat world when you go to cinema. No, you don't, you idiot. Globe world is what you present at the cinema.
I understand your point. It's a good analogy. But
Right,
I'm just saying, actually, in the Narnia books, Narnia is flat, and the real world outside the wardrobe is normal shaped.
Oh, I see. I've misunderstood your point. I take it back. So what you're saying is, in C.S. Lewis, in the description in the story,
that's all.
It's flat.
Yeah, some people say he was a flat earther and he knew.
I take that as proof of a flat Earth.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But yes, very interesting.
I liked what you guys were talking about earlier. So chemo wants to help the globers when they're upset and their paradigm breaks, but you don't want to. You just want to break it for them. I like the dynamic.
Nathan, is this live?
This isn't live. This is just the after show now, but no, there won't be a second show.
How long you got?
I'm actually on my own, but just before, while I was having a go at Ranty's old guest, what was his name? Peter. My wife went out with both kids, so I'm actually on my own indefinitely today.
So you can run. You can run for a while.
Yeah, I'll keep this recording till the conversation runs dry, or my wife comes home.
Is Spurs still here?
I think so.
I know,
Yes, he is.
but I mean, look.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I asked you if you were here, not give me a story.
Yeah, I'm here, but I just want to listen, really.
No, I want to know if you're here because I have a point to bring up to you, but I'm eating breakfast right now. So I'll get back to you in 5 minutes. Just don't close out before we talk. Thanks.
Okay.
Breakfast sounds good over here.
You know, an empath is Spurs.
Yeah.
No?
Sorry?
Do you know what an empath is?
Empath?
Yeah, like empathy, empath.
I mean, I've heard of that before, but you know, like I said, I put myself in their shoes when.
Okay, can we change the subject till John gets back? I like to talk about phenomena and phenomenal.
Phenomena and phenomenon, individual and plural.
Well, look at today's language. You see a sporting event and you come home, they say, why you have that gaze in your face? I saw the most phenomenal sporting event in my life. What's the root word for phenomenal? How did it change from its root meaning to something you gaze at that's extraordinary? There's different.
I can explain it. It's
Please do.
emphasizing a phenomena, as in something unique on top of the usual. That's why it's chosen that way.
Well, we are talking about Brenda using the word phenomena for a shoe.
You should have just stopped that word talking about Brenda.
But she's misconstruing it.
Don't
She's
even
using
burn
the
brain
word.
cells, man.
Brenda uses the word phenomena in a generalized sense. Well, yeah, when discussing science, you can't take it that way. It's very specific in the case of science, and she does it all the time on purpose, like in your face, on purpose, misconstrues words, places them without any doubt in the wrong context, obvious for everyone to see. And she just makes those mistakes on purpose during the discussion to derail it. And I've caught her doing it so many times, it's just insane.
Well, there's, like you said, in the context, they use it for each context. There's the physical, the natural. I mean, they use it in metaphysics, they use it in philosophy. So what was she saying when she said the shoe is a phenomena?
I'll answer that.
She's saying, saying that she experiences a good fit on her foot?
No, it's because they need to equivocate, and they do it all the time, with something that is a concrete noun. They need to turn it into something phenomenal. So on screen now, we had this exact example up when this last came in conversation. So what they need is the light that's coming from the clock behind that boat, which is off screen now, unfortunately. Hopefully it'll come back in a second and actually show it, but it has rolled by a few times. There's a clock behind that boat. Now, obviously, zoomed out, it's too small to see. But when you zoom in, there it is, across 18 miles, flat as a pancake. Well, it's just a building that we see. But they need to say that the reason we see it is because it's phenomenal, exceptional. It shouldn't really be there. There's an earth curve in the way, but we do see it, therefore a phenomena. Well, no, it's just a concrete noun. But they need to change concrete nouns into phenomena so they can start applying their pseudoscience and calling it science while they apply mathematics or whatever else, geometry. So they need to turn normal, mundane things into phenomena so they can claim science when performing pseudoscience. Someone's got their screen up. Paul.
Yeah, Paul's got a nice
phenomenon.
definition.
What do you guys think of that definition? How would that apply to this discussion? I've got really no comment, because I think in one sense of the word, Brenda's definition would apply to this. Now, the explanation of that phenomenon is, I think, the ultimate question to me.
The overall issue with Brenda is that she's starting a conversation using words taken completely out of context.
Would this be a scientific definition? Because
You're breaking up.
You're breaking up, Paul. But Arwen, I agree with what you're saying. The context has everything to do with it.
Yeah, and she on purpose derails the context by trying to switch it in plain sight and start to interpret the words in a different meaning and literally confusing everything with it on purpose. And she does it a lot of the time. Every chance she gets.
I think that's a Paula fiction, not a Brenda fiction. Like I say, they need to turn concrete nouns into phenomena.
Yeah, she contradicts herself with everything she says, and then she'll say something 30 seconds earlier, and then she'll say she didn't say it.
No, I didn't.
And then and then yeah, no, I didn't. And her favorite
No, I didn't
maneuver.
say I didn't.
Yep. And her favorite maneuver, nuh-uh. No. Nuh-uh. No. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So Spurs, are you around?
Hashtag shoe.
Spurs, you there?
Yeah. I just want to make one last point. I mean, I was thinking why I also do it as well. Like the way I do it as well is because when I think if you go into this as a competition, they automatically shut down. So even if you're right, they would rather say you're wrong because you've turned it into an ego thing, like of knowledge and information, of who knows what. So they don't even want to listen. That's why half the time it is nuh-uh, because they just think, oh well, who do you think you are? And trying to show me that, so it's like a competition. So if you break down the competition, just say, okay, let's talk about it, then it removes that competitive element to it.
Yeah, they're waiting and ignoring you and just waiting for them to enable making a new point. Do it all the time.
Can I just point out something quite comical? That Anon Moto's joined and he's got a bird's nest as his avatar. Very amusing, Anon Moto.
Thank you. And I've been quiet, so. And I heard
What's
you
up,
talk
Bernard?
What's up, buddy?
Love you.
I heard you talk to Jose JG Gonzalez yesterday, and you said, all welcome.
Yeah, everyone is welcome. Spurs, so have you got to the end of your bit? Because John's got a bone to pick with you, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a bone. Well, maybe a small one. I heard you talking about, I think you're going for the moon not reflecting light, and you brought up moon bows instead of rainbows. Remember that?
Have you not seen it? The moonbow.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. Have you not seen my discussion with you, or I had posted something in Master Bees to you not to do that anymore? You don't.
No, I
what
haven't
I'm
seen it.
saying.
I'll have a
What I'm
look.
saying is. What I'm saying is you don't need that. Listen, the moon, if you're saying that the sun or the moon reflects the sunlight, the moon must be either flat or concave because
No, I'm saying it doesn't.
It can't.
No, hold on, John.
Be,
I'm saying it doesn't.
hold on a
reflect the
second.
moon.
I'm not done yet.
Damn it. Finish.
Yeah, just let me finish. It's going to be quick. Like I said, the moon, to reflect the sun's light, it would have to be flat itself or concave. It can't uniformly reflect light without being those two shapes.
Just no. No.
Oh no. So I'm not talking to you, Don. I'm talking to Chemo.
Spheres reflect light. You can do that experiment at home.
No, you can't. It can't uniformly reflect like this is 60 level optics. Go look up specular reflection, Chemo. Just type in specular.
Hold on, Joe. Are you
not? Go ahead.
Sorry, let's clear what I'm saying. I'm saying the moon emits its own light. Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Is
don't
that
need
not
to
true?
use moon bows.
You disagree?
Just use the other argument.
But I'm saying that a night rainbow cannot be with reflected light.
Yeah, I think you're going down a path there that it's it's the acme of foolishness. You get 30,000 people with their opinions. Just finish them quick. The moon cannot reflect light uniformly unless it's flat or concave. Period. End of story. This is
Or
known.
an actual proven object. How about that?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, we could go down that road, but I don't want to get off topic here. It's real simple. It's less than 15 seconds. You see what I mean? You want to be concise, to the point, and end it quick. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So look into that. It's specular reflection. Just type that in. I'm sure it's real easy. You're going to figure it out within about 20 minutes. Right? It's called, with the angle of incidence, sort of stuff like that. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
Cool. I'll look at that.
Spurs, you said a minute ago your style versus, say, my style or someone else's style, that we go right in for mano-a-mano argument.
No. I just said that my style, no, I didn't say yours. I said my style may be considered an orthodox, my method. So you're like, why are you going this route? Right?
No, you
and
actually said that when you guys take it to them, it's an instant or immediate argument. Well, that's not how it happens. It gets to that point when they want to deny reality and not come up with any evidence.
But that's not what I said. I'm saying when
okay.
they feel it's a competition, when they feel that, okay, we're entering into a competitive arena, they are already on guard. We don't want that. We want people's guards to, to be relaxed so you can have a conversation about what the person thinks is going on. But someone like Brenda, her guard is up. Brenda's guard is up regardless because she realizes, oh, people are attacking me. I'm going to attack them. It's just, a competitive nature. Now, Brenda has been shown numerous times that the Earth is flat.
No.
The globe cannot.
No, Spurs. Golly, you got a baggage to disembark from your mind. Competition is healthy. Competition of ideas that are proven by the scientific method or validity is welcomed. We want the ideas to fight, not the people.
Well, no, fact is fact, isn't it? Once you know the cause, you follow the method. Why would you compete over that? That's the problem we're in right now. We've got globe earthers.
No, that's the problem you're in right now. When I have debates on flat earth with ballers, with friends of mine for 20, 30 years, they think I'm crazy. You know what I say to them? I said, you're allowed to think I'm crazy, but you have not brought one single piece of evidence to prove the 7 housekeeping questions. So when you have that, get back to me, okay? And I have not heard from them.
I like what you've just said. I like what you've just said there. They think you're crazy. Okay. So what I'm able to do in this situation,
did you hear the rest
is show them what I'm able to do in this situation is show them that they are crazy. So I remove that.
You're not showing them they're crazy. You're jumping in and feeling they're crazy.
They're saying to me, oh, you're crazy. Instead of me saying to them, well, you're crazy, I can say, okay, so you think I'm crazy. Well, let's have a look at how, what you believe. And then what happens as a result is that person thinks, well, I'm the one that's crazy for believing in such a thing, that Earth was curving. I'm the crazy one for thinking that gravity was a force. So again, you remove that competitive element and then they can think for the first time in their lives, right? Because their guard is down.
No. It's because of the competitive question desiring validity to it that created the freedom of their minds. It was that initial friction that caused it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you tell the truth,
I think the competitive element breeds people like Rumpus. You see, without the competitive element, Rumpus wouldn't even bother doing this.
No, it's not. It's not the competitive element that breeds Rumpus.
He's number one, and everyone else is beneath him. You see. So
Rumpus, no, I don't see.
Rumpus carries out himself.
You don't breed.
That's why Rumpus probably gets the most attack from flat earthers, because Rumpus has brought this aura of I know it all. I know everything. Okay, so it's like, Rumpus, no, you don't. Pipe down. You don't know anything about what you're talking about. So now he's thought, well, hold on. Yes, I do. You're a moron. You're an idiot. So now it goes back and forth. Whereas we say, Rumpus, okay, can you demonstrate what you're talking about? So to hear him waffle on will demonstrate that he cannot demonstrate.
I don't see the problem here. We are doing that.
Is this the Rumpus that says air is not the atmosphere?
Yes, that's correct. That would be the Rumpus that says air is not the atmosphere. That would be the correct person.
Okay.
And he said that gravity is not a force, a fictitious force, and then proceeded to say yesterday in chat that gravity is a force. So he literally contradicts himself. Time span weeks.
Something like that from Rumpus. Who's the crazy one? Rumpus is saying crazy things.
Yeah,
so this is the thing. As he's saying, you're crazy. As he's saying crazy things, we're asking simple questions.
Yeah,
well,
projection.
If he wants to compete in those terms. Sorry?
Projection. They project whatever they're doing typically straight onto you. For example, Wiggles comes on with a script that he's discussed with another member on the panel or Discord server, I think it was Right the Hand, the day before, precisely what he's going to say, all written down. He then comes in and accuses me of being on a script. So that's typically what they do. So in the case of Rumpus, yes, he holds some crazy views, therefore he'll accuse you of being crazy while he spouts his craziness. It's projection.
It's the new method. It's the double think method. You engage in aggression and then accuse your target of aggression. It's
it's a Hillary
widely
Clinton
adopted
school.
in politics, and it's widely
Hillary
adopted
Clinton,
into
yeah,
debate
exactly.
techniques from ballers.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton perfected that.
Yes.
Yeah, charging others with what you do.
Yeah, the Globers are like the 2019 crackheads. That's all I see them as.
They're
So
just
Spurs, did
the
you look that up
common
yet?
man's politicians.
Spurs, did you look that
So I
up
just
yet?
think, what if our children, what if it were 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and they were just as indoctrinated and curious and just can't believe what's going on? So the only way to get them, that student to believe what he's saying is to get...
Hold on, let's first finish.
The only way to get this student to go with what he's saying to us is to demonstrate. Okay, so before he gets to Rumpus, where it's set in, I'm thinking, you're saying just attack the ball earthers. Again, young people are ball earthers, right? And they're still questioning, these things. So it's all ages. There's a huge range. It's not just like, one demographic,
We don't
right?
attack ball earthers. We attack ball religious fanatics that won't admit to losing an argument.
Right.
That's the target. If people are just like on the fence or like, yeah, I kind of believe in the ball, but I don't know everything, we're not going to attack them. We only attack the dishonesty and the deception.
Right, the fundy zealots.
Yeah, the ones that are out there preaching it. That's
It's interesting. It's interesting, Spurs, that you use the word attack. You're so far removed from the way.
The reason why I say this, hold on, let me clear why I say this. I say this because I find it hard to believe that they believe this. Like, we know what it was like to believe this. So we're like,
you're
wow,
I don't think it's hard at all. I was there myself.
Hold on. So the fact is that we know people mature as you grow up at different ages. No one just at 16, we all mature at the same time, right? You have 5-year-olds who develop quicker than others. So the same thing is with these people. If you're 50, 40, whatever, you will mature on this subject gradually. So the idea is that
That all depends on the individual. Maturity is not age bound. It's only for the physical matters. So,
exactly. It's not age. Precisely. It's not age. It's the person's mind. Has it matured? Rumpus probably hasn't matured. He acts like a child. We're looking at someone here who's very immature in his way.
They develop skills, they develop specialties, and then they ignore the social interactions that have been flawed for a long time. That's a very normal thing in the world. Like almost every real specialist in something has some kind of counterweight social issues.
Hey, Spurs, I'm going to tell you what I do first time when I meet a baller, and I want you to tell me if it's an attack. All right? Will you listen just for 1 minute?
Go.
Okay, here's what I do. I say, hey, okay, let me just do it, and then you can label it if it's an attack, or if it's something else, and I'll let you decide. How's that? But just let me finish. Hey, Joe, what kind of evidence, now that we talked about this, what kind of evidence would you need to see for yourself to believe that the Earth is not a ball? What kind of evidence would you need to see? Wait for answer. Okay, what other things would you need to see that will allow you to see that gravity is not a force? What else would you need to see? What kind of proof can I put in front of you that you will say, I get it? What do you need to see? I wait for answer. And then if they're open, I bring the evidence. And guess what? They go, you're right. Oh my gosh. I go, you're experiencing cognitive dissonance right now, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, I am. Now, was there an attack there?
No, it wasn't a direct attack. No, how you began. But again,
wasn't an attack at all.
It wasn't a direct attack. No.
No, was it any kind of attack?
You said what was the first question? What
Completely
evidence do you have
derailing the foundational meaning of these words. Okay, it's just like what liberals do, calling just normal behavior hate. You're taking things out of context. It's weird. Don't do it.
I'm waiting for Spurs to answer. Was it any kind of attack?
You asked me to
no,
answer.
you hold on. Answer the question.
You know, again, your initial question is putting something on somebody else, right? You said you were like asking them instead of talking about you. So you know, if you're going to break the ice, so to speak, again, if it's an initial,
don't red herring it. Is it an attack or isn't it?
question.
Stop red herring the shit out of the place. Okay, it's starting to smell like fish over here.
I said, is it an attack or not? You said it's a direct attack. And I said, no, it wasn't an attack at all. Please tell me why you think it's a direct attack.
Not a direct attack. No.
Is it an attack of any kind?
When you put something on somebody else, you're applying pressure to them, right? If you don't,
it's a question.
If you don't,
okay, let me try with you. Spurs chemo. Oh, that sounds different. What does chemo mean, Spurs?
It's just off, you know, the ice chemo. So it doesn't really mean anything, really. Just the name that I chose.
Oh, I see. Like Eskimo chemo, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you feel pressure?
You're asking about me. I'm not the ball, am I? Now, if you ask me something outside of myself, outside of my, you know, understanding, where, you know, that's about me, right? So that's not. It doesn't feel like an attack, right? But if you're asking me something outside,
well, I just told you when I talked to a baller and I asked questions, was it an attack? Am I not asking you to give your opinion as to my style? Did I come at him with anger, attack, you idiot? I can't believe you believe we're on the ball, spinning 66,000 miles, spinning at 1,000 at the equator, da, 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 da. Did I do that? Or did I just say, what kind of evidence would it take for you to believe the earth is flat? Now, guess what happens, Spurs? They will tell me the evidence that they will accept. Then it's up to me to bring that evidence. Once I do, they will believe the earth is flat.
No, they'll say that they will.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
That's fair enough.
They
Yeah.
will.
I agree.
Listen.
But then you're telling them like you created the flat Earth, you own, like you, all you have is a discovery that there are no measurements that shows Earth curve or Earth turn to you, right,
dude?
So,
Earth to Spurs. I was on the golf course, Spurs. I'm playing golf with three other guys, so we're a foursome on the golf course. So I say, isn't it interesting that they tell us this Earth is moving 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, 66,000 plus miles around the sun, almost 500,000 miles through our solar system, and over 1 million miles per hour in the Milky Way galaxy. And yet when we look, we don't feel anything. Isn't that interesting? I said that at a tee box. Guess what tee box I said that on? Number 1. Why? Because I got 4 to 5 hours and they ain't going nowhere. And guess what happened by the end of the 18th hole? a conversion, a conversion from a baller to a flat earther. Then he says, send me every video you got. So I did. Then he and his wife came over to my house because she had trouble because he was new and he couldn't explain it. So they came, I prepared dinner and went over 4 hours worth of dialogue, back and forth, back and forth. Very nice, no attacking, just asking questions. So I said, what evidence would you need, to the wife, to prove to you that you've been lied to? What evidence would you need to prove to you we're not spinning? What evidence? I just listed every question I could think of. Guess what? He called me yesterday and we talked. And he says, can you send me some more? My wife is researching it on her own. This is fantastic.
Ooh, nice.
That's because you had a conversation. You removed the competitive element. That was more of a, relaxed atmosphere, relaxed. That's precisely what I was talking about, right? But, if your friend was found this traumatic and, looked ahead at the lies, the whys, the hows, then you would have to, you would have.
First, I
I
don't
didn't
have
come to him for an argument. It was a by chance conversation. And then, yeah, if you don't go to somebody for an argument, then there's a bigger chance that you'll be quite open-minded about things.
First, I don't have an international internet show called the Nathan Oakley Show. Nathan Oakley has the privilege of that show. The people are calling in here are hostile to us. I am not hostile to them. I don't meet people like Brenda and Rumpus in the real world. I meet people like me. And they say, what makes you think the earth is flat? Or why'd you ask that provocative question? And it never gets to an argument because I ask for evidence through questions and they either follow up or they don't. I don't burn bridges.
Well done.
I mean, there is no one way, right, to get someone to look into this. Different methods. Like I say, you could a number of questions you could use. Like you've heard John talk about containers, gas pressure without a container. That did it. Some people watch Matt Powerland with humor. Okay, painting or picture, that did it. Right. So there are various ways. Water, simple water does it for people. Okay. Many different ways. So yeah, that is one way. I just feel if you remove
but what is even doing it? It is drawing them over the edge. It's not literally making them believe it, but something may be inclined to draw somebody over the edge in order to just start exploring it. They have to get to that point where they are actually wanting to start exploring it.
Arwen, you nailed it because it's not
so
anything. Spurs, let me answer Arwen. Arwen nailed it because if I could elaborate what Arwen is saying, at least from the way I have experienced it, is this. I can't convert anyone from ball to earth. All I could do is ask provocative questions, use the Socratic method, and ask them to give answers to those questions. When they realize that the answer of the questions goes against current reality or so-called pseudo-reality, that either sparks something in them to investigate, as to my friend and his wife, or like Rumpus, to double down and fight. I can't control either of those outcomes.
And it's sometimes really unexpected what people will choose. They'd be very open, super nice, and really hear you out. And then there's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And then a couple of weeks later, I bump into them and they're like totally against it all of a sudden. So you never really know.
I had a baller say, well, if I could show you the curve, would you believe the earth is a ball? I go, yeah, show me the curve.
Exactly. It's as simple as that.
I haven't heard back.
Don't hold your breath.
Hey, Nan, welcome back. Like your bird's nest.
Oh, guys, by the way, did you see my new post in the Master B chat? India just unveiled their moon lander to become the fourth nation to touch the Earth's satellite. They got a new contraption.
To become what?
To become the fourth nation to touch down
the
on
fourth
Earth's
nation.
satellite.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. India. Got it.
Hey, what's up?
Going on and on.
And they got out the gold foil as well. Just look at the thing. You know what? I'll present it.
You know, every time I go buy Reynolds wrap, foil for your food, I'm
Look at
going
this.
to ask for the gold version.
Look at this thing. This is their moon lander.
Cool.
Oh, wow. They do have the gold foil.
Yeah.
That looks really
Where did they
high-tech.
get that gold foil? I want some.
They've just used the same design as the Apollo missions then.
No, not exactly.
It's got 4 legs, a rocket underneath it. It's basically
Well,
the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. The basic concept. But it definitely has different things to it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what's ironic? You know
You
what's
can't see
ironic?
you can't see the curtain poles and duct tape. Oh no, you can.
You know
At the top, there you go. On the gold foil, on the dome, on the top. Yeah.
Yeah. What's ironic is they lost all the telemetry, but they had a surplus of gold foil.
Whoa, the wiring is on the outside. How does that protect it against radiation?
It doesn't. It's just really useful if you want to show people people climbing
That's-
outside the spaceship.
What the fuck? They get the gold foil for the protection, and then they freaking put the wires outside. What the fuck?
Yeah, very useful for EVs. Extravehicular
Science,
activities,
baby.
right? So they can get them outside repairing something, because that makes sense.
Yeah. Great.
Out into space, they need you to see the space bit. So by having them go outside the vehicle to fix a cable that obviously needs several hours of attention, then, they can have them outside in space. So everyone sees space. Men in space. But the space bit's the most important bit. They want you to argue about the wires on the outside of the ship, as opposed to the fact that they can't be in Narnia. Space isn't real. But if we can argue about the wires on the outside, then they're really happy.
That like a hard disk out in the open? Seeing here? It looks like it's a hard disk or something.
This is just sad. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, this is just sad.
Oh, it is
Right,
fascinating.
it's insanity. This is, you're absolutely crazy. To have to go into their world to bring them out is insanity. Yeah, it's insane.
Look at
I mean,
this.
the only way.
And then you want me to,
I mean,
and
they
then
seem to-
Spurs, you want me to feel sorry for people who believe this? Spurs, you want me to feel sorry for people who believe this thing is going
3 people
into
talking at
space?
once.
Dude, this guy is a rocket scientist, right?
He's a chef.
Yeah, he's making ribs. That guy's making ribs. We know it.
Ribs.
I believe some of them do need this tough love. So, when I hear Nathan and, Dal and, I'm like, yeah, that's what you need. You need to wake up. You can't just have this easy approach. Of course not. Not everyone can do that, absolutely. But not everyone can also just, I feel, just in my opinion, just rage.
These guys,
at the-
these guys that are out here are not in the business of trying to be convinced or finding the truth. They're out here for obfuscation, right? There's a big difference between the people that we're dealing with and your just everyday, Betty bread maker and Joe Coffee, right? So these people are out here with a definite agenda. So we just expose them and their agenda. That's all we do. It's nothing personal.
In this
Definitely.
instance, the agenda. Hold on, pop your pitch back up, Pine.
Yo, hold on. I'm gonna reload it in a full picture without the article surrounding it, so
Okay.
you can properly take a look.
So
Hold on.
the agenda in this instance is to get us to argue about whether or not the wires would work in space. It means that we are automatically assuming that space is real, and the only argument is about whether or not the wires would work there.
Right, so hope this helps. So is it visible now, fully?
Yeah, it's all right. It was all right before, actually. Can you go back to the picture of the guy on the cherry picker with the walkie-talkie and his mate sat next to him having a damn good look at the gold foil that's already assembled and on
the other
craft?
one. Okay, hold on. Let me get it.
Yeah, the guy on the cherry picker, he's got a walkie-talkie in his hand. He's got his mate next to him. They're up close to the top of the spaceship. And they're not doing anything. They're just having a look at it. With
Where is this? Where is this, Nathan? I can't see.
India.
I'm presenting it. Right, is it showing now?
It's not showing for Discord, no.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, I got the wrong one presented. Hold on. Right. Was it this one? Yeah.
Yeah. So the guys on the cherry pickers, they're looking at something that's already assembled. They're just having a little look at it. Look, neither of them are actually doing anything.
They're just double checking if all the wires on the outside are connected properly.
Yeah, they're just having a little look at it. Now, when we see the astronauts in the fake medium of space, they'll be full on, man. They'll have hands with tools in it that are designed to work in space. They'll be on the outside of it fixing a wire. These guys, well, we're just having a little look at it. Look at them. What are you doing? Having a look. Why are you on a cherry picker? So it can look from up high.
They're just doing safety checks. That's what it is.
I'm also noticing another pattern here. For some reason, a lot of their metal things within the room seems to be painted pink for some reason. Weird.
Hey, by the way, I just got a like on a comment that I put on Adam Meekin's Iron Rail Media. When Adam put that last video up after he got the YouTube censorship lifted, I listened to it at the 1:11 mark. Musser says gravity causes disc-like shapes in other systems. I wonder why he said disc-like shapes in other systems,
Oh, I can answer
not in
that.
all.
Because their universe is flat. That's why.
Well, it makes sense. If it's geocentric, then the Earth should be the only globe, and everything else in the universe will be disks. Sort of. Still doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah, but I missed that in the initial interview with Fight the Flat Earth, but I caught it on Adams. It was just so like, wait a minute, you're saying gravity that doesn't exist, but you can think it does, causes other stellar objects to be a disk?
Just bollocks. They're just making up a story about the lights in the sky, you realise. They can make up any old bollocks they like. I mean, they're having it take place in a conceptual medium of space-time.
And then call it science.
Science. This would be called science. You know, whatever they're doing is definitely not science. It's technology. Whatever they're building isn't going to a fake medium. That's not going to go through the magic wardrobe. It's not going to get shot up into a sky vacuum. You know, whatever they actually do with it is beyond us, because they don't tell us that, right? They just show us this bit. Then a man on the outside of it fixing a wire where the guys on the ground are just having a little look at it.
Yeah, it's a joke. They do the disc thing because that immediately invokes gravitational accretion.
Okay, this is going to sound a bit crazy a little bit. So CERN are trying to open a portal. Now, I know man is the cause of the portal if they manage to open it, or whatever they're trying to do. What is that? Is that just what? How is that seen? Is that they want
science
what I'm asking is,
fiction?
they say that's
You can't be serious.
Firstly, what are you talking about? Opening a portal? It's a particle collider.
What is that? Where'd you get that from?
They smash particles together at very high speeds. It's not opening a portal.
What? Why do they smash particles?
That's called
You're-
science fiction.
You're thinking of Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines.
All right. Why do they smash particles?
Particles slam in one
Why do
another
they-
hard
what-
enough, then a Terminator
They're-
will start to appear and start killing the scientists.
They're trying to
That's
figure out.
like watching The Flash.
They're trying to figure out the constituent makeup of those particles.
The God particle, yeah.
I don't know about no God particle. That's what they're trying to do.
It is
I know,
the
that's what I was
surmount
saying.
of their microcosm particle ball world presuppositional system. So they're finding the ultimate particle.
That's what
It's-
they're saying that they're doing. That they're smashing these particles into each other, trying to get down to the constituent particles that make up those particles. See if there's anything smaller. Now that's what they say they're doing.
Exactly. I'm saying they're opening a portal to the satanic world to release a demon in this world.
Where'd you get that from?
That's what it says in the Bible in Revelation. In Revelations, it says he will be given a key to the abyss, right? And this key is not an actual key, is it? It's something where they're trying to release into this world. That's what I.
Okay,
it's just an
and that's
assumption,
Revelation what?
why are they
14.
trying- No, it's my assumption, but why are they trying to smash particles? And suppose they find out what it does, then what?
Wait a second.
know,
Wait a second.
what's
Wait a
next?
second. You're saying this is Revelation, right? That's somewhere around Revelation
know, but
14
in-
or so, right?
Yeah, it says that he will be given the keys to the abyss. Yeah, somewhere in
but
Revelation. Right?
that's
So you explain that.
That's not CERN.
I'm not saying if it's CERN or not, but someone's trying to open something. Again, this is probably for biblical flat earthers, not probably the place.
No,
right
it's not
now,
for
but
biblical
that's some-
flat earthers either. It doesn't have anything to do with Revelation.
What is this?
I
What is
mean,
this abyss
you're
then?
there-
That,
you're almost
who will be
at-
given a
at the
key? What
end.
key?
And I don't know where you're
No, I'm
getting
just asking
these
you. I'm saying what? How? Do you,
metaphors.
oh, let me try and find the verse. Revelation. I think we really want to. I don't think people.
Try
wanna,
chapter 12.
Is it 12 or 14?
you hear
You're
me?
well past the abomination of desolation. You're in the tribulation at this point. So we're not in any tribulation, and the metaphors don't match. So
And I will say something.
Sometime
I'm
in the
not a
future,
preterist or anything.
right now, that's in the future. Now they're just messing something. They're building. It's the beginning stages, right?
that doesn't have anything to do. Revelation doesn't have anything to do with CERN.
What does it
I was-
mean then? The keys to the how do you understand it?
The keys to the abyss? Read the passage.
Let me find it. I'm trying to get
His
it.
name's Apollyon, right?
Right. You see?
Yeah, I know. I know the passage. I
And
just
the
need to
fifth
hear it.
angel sounded, and I saw a star fell from heaven. Okay, and that star fell from heaven, and him was given a key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened. You know all of that. So someone's trying to open something, but
Yeah,
that's what
a
obviously
star fall
now.
from heaven, right? So what's the star falling from heaven?
Cox, isn't it? Brian Cox.
No, it's not Brian Cox. What's what are stars idiomatically? What are stars in scripture?
Angels.
Are fallen are the angels. Angels, right?
Angels.
So what?
Right.
How I understand that, a demon.
No,
How I could
not
be
a
wrong
demon.
again. A demon.
Nope.
Sorry.
Wrong.
Fallen angel, Spurs.
Not a demon. Two different things.
Can I say something?
Go ahead. Yes, you can. Was that it?
They say they measure particles in CERN, but I think they run some kind of simulation because they use they created their own operating system, which is used by CERN, and I think there is all programmed so they can later analyze whatever they made in their fantasy world. I think.
Who was just talking? What's your name? What's your name, my friend?
Yoti?
I think he said Yati.
Yoti.
Yoti. Welcome, Yoti.
Thank you.
Yeah, good
Now,
to have you.
I know for sure that CERN have their own operational system, which is called Scientific Linux, if I remember well. And I think whoever wrote the code, they also make some codes for particles, and I think they are observing their fantasies inside their operational systems, because like space flight, the only thing they observe is a monitor.
I agree with that.
So you're basically saying it's such a big operation and they got many, many departments, and the person in any single department is only knowing about that aspect of it, not the whole thing.
Exactly. Why I didn't check this fact, but I read it in few places. Why then in 10 years at NASA 74 scientists have died?
That's an
I
interesting
think they
fact.
use them, and
How old
after
were
they
they?
get rid of them.
Were they older scientists or young and old, all combined?
All combined, young and old. 74. This is not normal.
Yeah, that's an aberration of some kind in 10 years, but it depends how old they are and what kind of evidence you can put forth. But I could see it happening if they're trying to shut people up too. So there's two ways you can look at it.
Well, this is my view on this. I'm not saying I'm true, but it could be.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because even with CERN, the videos I've seen on CERN, they have the occultic ceremonies, the god of death, Shiva. So they don't help their cause by doing that stuff. So it just lends to the bigger conspiracy. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it's fishy. It's fishy to me because they create their own operation system, for the computers they use. This is the most fishy thing. And what are they doing? They are doing some fishy things, and I think they need their this operational system so they can examine so-called imaginary particles.
Now, there's more than one Hadron Collider like CERN in the world. There are many others, correct?
Yeah, there's loads of them. It's not a new thing. It's far from it.
Yeah, there are a lot of. There are many. Some are
Right,
small, but most are small.
Right. So do you think if we go down the conspiracy route, which I'm open to, but need more evidence, but if we go down that route, do you think the other small ones are connected to the big ones, and one day they're all going to be somehow connected? Or where are you on that?
No, if I remember well, here is one like 50 kilometers from me is one. They just do experiments with the metals. They enrich them with some kind of things, and then they observe the radiations and so on.
And where are you? When I ask, you don't have to answer if you don't want.
Well, I'm from Slovenia, but this Hadron Collider is in Trieste. It's in Italy. It's like 50 kilometers from me.
Okay, so they're doing a whole different so-called experiments there, correct?
Yeah, but I was trying years ago to look what they're doing exactly, and I couldn't make a complete picture. And basically, I didn't find out any useful things, the creative things. Basically, they are doing nothing.
They're smashing particles together at great speeds. They're particle colliders.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
They're just accelerating stuff
Are
up
they
at
really
fast
part-
speeds in opposite directions and then bringing them together in front of a camera. That's what they're doing.
Wasn't there a segment on one of them that said that they're trying to recreate the Big Bang?
Well, they're smashing
Yeah,
stuff
and they
together.
say they don't have enough energy.
They're smashing stuff together, and that obviously breaks down whatever they smash together. And they say that they're examining the fundamental makeup of the particle at the point for the fraction of a second that they see it in the camera. And they identify what they call new elements. And my understanding for CERN was that they were looking.
Elements are also captured in straits of lead, and I don't really understand how can they detect then these new particles if they are captured inside another structure.
Well, they're saying that they don't have the energy or the, I don't know if it's the time in terms of the camera because of the limited amount of time they claim the Higgs boson, which is I think they've either claimed to have found it now. I kind of lost interest about 5 years ago, to be honest, but they were looking, when I was last interested in it, for the Higgs boson, the God particle.
They said they found it.
I thought that was the case. I'm sure I saw something about it a few years ago, but that's what they're essentially doing. They're looking for a specific part of the makeup of these elementary particles they smash together at great speed.
I was looking the presentation of this, and basically they throw out a big assumption, and then everybody applaud. For me, it was nothing concrete, nothing provable, nothing really.
Right, I would agree. In terms of what they show you as well, it's typically a graphical rendering on a monitor of dots and lines. That's what they show you, and this is what we've mapped from the aforementioned images that they take. So you've got this depiction of stuff in very, very slow progression of what is supposed to be the mapping of an explosion of particles colliding at great speed. That's what they show the cameras, usually for a fleeting second between showing you pictures of Shiva and telling you how big it is and showing you the giant cameras.
It's a lot like that picture of Atom that looks like the Knights of Malta cross. Just pictures.
Right. As I say, the actual claimed scientific validity they give or offer or claim to offer is only ever shown for a matter of seconds on any documentary that I've ever watched about CERN. Like I say, most of it is showing, the goddess of Shiva on the outside and the tunnels and telling you how massive it is and etc, etc.
I remember I watched a documentary on it like 5 years ago on the data center, because I'm a data center guy. I design data centers, and that's all I used to think about. And just the amount of, they do use proper gear, and they are studying something, but what does it have to do with reality? Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll use it somehow to deflect from the flat Earth.
I think somebody I heard was kind of explaining, it's like you basically hit two things together, and then they create a pattern after they hit each other, and then you call that pattern a particular particle. So you can basically just smash things together, create random patterns that happen after they collide, and then each one of those are some sort of a particle.
The long game of CERN,
Yeah,
I don't know. What I do know is that the priests of heliocentrism work there.
you know now how they create this famous black hole picture. Basically, it's the same shit. Out of nothing, they create something.
Yeah,
Go on.
exactly.
What do you mean with the black hole picture out of something they create nothing? Give us a bit more detail.
Well, they create like I don't know how many tera of pictures, and from every picture they took few what is it called?
Nebulae?
Monitor is composed of, now I don't,
Pixels.
Resolution and pixels. They create they take from every picture few pixels, combine them, and they say they found this black hole picture. This is essentially what they do. They took like 3 billion pictures of a black hole. Don't ask me how. And then from every picture they took few pixels, combined them together. Don't ask me how. And the end product was the famous picture of the black hole.
Awesome.
Well, that's a direct violation of the second law of thermodynamics. There is no space.
Where I'm from, they call that bullshit.
Yeah, they can make up any story they like, and how they've claimed the pictures that they've got. They can make that up too.
Chocolate, you should have said they call it BS, but don't ask me how.
Then they call it science.
Yep, that's the biggest problem. They take the bullshit and name it science.
Bull science. Maybe BS means bull science.
There you go.
Okay, so we're coming up on the 3-hour mark. This is normally where I set up the camera, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say, are you about to ask the Discord server if there was any ballers amongst them? That's you,
Talking
John.
to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Any ballers out there? Let's see. We got Crim. Oh, I missed you, Chris. Sorry about that. I've been shirking my duties here. There are some ballers in there. I see 1, 2, Chemo 3.
Hashtag
3. Hashtag hug a baller. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish someone would change mine from baller to flat earther.
Who's that? What's your name? What's your name?
We'll get that sorted for you.
Your mic's all screwed up. You got a bad mic. Yeah, there's some ballers in there. They're real quiet though. What do you got, ballers? Show us one shred of scientific evidence for your spinning ball religion.
One piece.
One shred, yep.
Continue their sensory and they want to use math.
I'm gonna use a sky observation. Is that all right?
Go on.
I'm gonna use an observation of the sky. Is that okay? Or continual observations of the sky?
Is that scientific evidence?
Well, I consider it scientific evidence. Yeah.
Cool.
You consider?
Yeah, that's okay. Right. Lay it out. Tell us all about it.
It's the southern stars appearing to rotate the opposite way.
They don't.
They don't. It's perspective.
They do appear to go the opposite way.
Perspective.
No, they don't. All the stars rise in the east and set in the west, except for Polaris.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Then they're not
that
going the
doesn't change
opposite
fact
way
they
in the
appear-
south, Dawn.
That doesn't change the fact they appear to rotate the opposite way.
Sorry,
It depends where you are, Nathan.
they don't appear to rotate the opposite way. They all rise in the east and set in the west.
No, they don't.
No,
Yeah,
they
I'm not
don't.
talking about east and west.
Okay, let's see that. There's a claim.
I'm not talking about east and
No,
west.
okay,
I'm
let's
talking
see
about
it.
the rotation.
Let's see these
thing.
stars rising in the west. Let's see it.
No, I'm not talking about east and west.
No, not
Like,
you.
that's
Someone
not
else
my
said no, they
evidence.
don't. Someone else
My
said no, they
evidence is
don't.
the rotation
Dawn.
circles that seem to go opposite ways in the
Yeah,
sky.
third
when you
time
look
I've said
up.
it. Listen up, Dawn. Don't just restate your claim 5 more times over the top of the rebuttal. I'm going to state it now. I want you to listen. All of the stars rise in the east and set
You don't,
in
Nathan. That
the
would
west.
depend on where you are on Earth.
Okay, do you want to show me some rising in the west, please?
I don't rise in the west necessarily.
They do
They
most
don't
in that-
necessarily
Sorry.
set or rise.
Right, his
Well,
point
that's
is
not
that
my
they
evidence,
rotate
though. I'm not
in
talking about east and west.
Dawn. So, what do you mean you're not talking
It's
about
not part
east
of my
or
evidence.
west?
Not my evidence. That's not the thing I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that the way the two sets, south and north, seem to rotate around 2 points opposite ways when you look up into the sky on multiple places. Everyone,
If you're in
everyone
North
report.
Pole-
Everyone
How many times
report-
have I got to say this?
Everyone
Dawn,
report.
Dawn. I've said it about 5 times. They all rise in the east and set in the west. Somebody
I know, Nathan,
interrupts
I know,
when I
yeah.
say it
That's
and
not
then
what I'm
says no,
saying,
they
though.
don't. But they don't seem to
That's
want to
not my
actually
evidence.
qualify their example by showing it rising. Some of the
No,
stars
I
rising in the
agree.
west.
I agree with you. They all do.
But they don't go in opposite directions. They all rise in the east and set in the west, then, Dawn.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, though. is
Yeah,
it?
you're saying they go in the opposite
Nathan, if you're in
direction.
the South
Dawn.
Pole or
Dawn.
the North Pole, then none of the stars will rise or set.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
Your point only works
Not
for the
you,
north.
Dawn.
Nathan, I
Not
think.
you, Dawn.
Am I coming through, Don?
Yes.
Yeah, you carry on.
Thank you. I think Nathan's ignoring me.
I'm asking you to repeat yourself.
No, he's not ignoring you. Say it again.
I said, if you're in the South Pole or the North Pole, then none of the stars will appear to rise or set.
Oh, you're playing a little word game. All the stars, the sun and the moon, move from east to west.
Is that quantum razor?
This is the fact. But it's not my point.
Well, your point, Dawn.
What name are you going
hold
by
on,
now?
hold on, Dawn. Let's just dispose of what you're saying. You're claiming they go in opposite directions. They don't. They all go in the same direction. So,
appear to
yeah,
go in
yeah, Dawn,
opposite
Dawn.
circular
Yeah,
directions,
your claim.
opposite rotation.
Yeah, your claim that they appear to go in opposite directions is wrong. You keep saying
It's
that's not the
though,
point.
is
I'm
it? Because
Dawn.
everyone
Don't
on Earth
interrupt.
reports this.
Dawn, I'm gonna have
Everyone
to
with a
shut you up.
telescope
I'm gonna have to
reports
shut you
this.
up, aren't you? You're doing what every
I got him.
asshole
I
Glober
got him.
does.
Go ahead, say it. I gotta control him. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, you got to control these fucking assholes that talk all over me when they're being obliterated, like Dawn, the fundy fuckwit. So shut your fucking mouth and listen when I tell you. Your claim is they go in opposite directions. They don't. They all go in the same direction. So just saying that's not what I'm claiming. Yeah, we know what you're claiming. We are not deaf. Your claim is wrong, Dawn. They don't go in opposite directions. So you're going to say it another 5 more times or actually acknowledge they all go in the same direction. East to west. You getting it, you thicko?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dawn.
Good. You don't have a rebuttal. Your claim is invalid. They don't go in opposite directions. I appreciate your silence.
The other guy pre-assumed North and South Pole, so he pre-assumed the sphere when he asked his question.
Yeah, we're getting to him next. Dawn, is that it?
I guess I'll clarify by saying rotational.
Hold on a second.
direction.
Just Dawn. Dawn, did you understand what he said? Do you have a rebuttal?
No, I wasn't listening at all. I went to shave because he muted me.
I didn't
Yeah,
mute
because
you.
you wouldn't shut up.
I didn't mute you. I asked you to shut up while I gave you a rebuttal, and you refused. Someone else muted you.
I did. I muted you.
There's no rebuttal. I'm simply saying east to west thing is not my point. I'm not talking about that.
It's a direction.
You did. You said they were going
Rotational
in
direction,
opposite
appearance
directions.
of rotational direction, suggesting an
God.
axis. and-
Okay, I've had enough of him.
Yeah, I've had enough. Dawn, they don't go in opposite directions, as you claimed. You are wrong. But you keep restating your position like that will somehow be making it right at some stage. No, they don't go in opposite directions. You're just brainwashed. You've just been lied to by the people who told you they do go in opposite directions. They see you as an easy target to lie to. You've bought their lie, now I'm pointing out their lie. You keep restating their lie, and I'm sure while they watch this, Dawn, they'll be laughing at you that you accepted their lie of opposite directional rotation, which we do not experience ever. It doesn't happen. You're just wrong. Now we've got a further claim from someone else who's telling us about what happens at the North and South Pole. So I'd like to see that first. Let's see some validity being given to the assertion before we move on with examples made on this claim. So has the individual...
An example would be if you're in the North Pole, like the Arctic 24-hour sun.
I'm not in the North
Doesn't
Pole.
set, doesn't
Are you in
rise.
the... Yeah. If
Right,
I'm
but
in the
if
North
we're in
Pole...
the North
so,
Pole, you
excuse
see
me.
all stars rise in the east and set in the west.
Excuse
well,
me.
that's not the case. It depends
Excuse
where
me.
you are on Earth.
Excuse me. Yes. I don't need you to repeat your claim. Listen carefully. I want you to validate your claim based on actual evidence. I haven't finished. Is this another asshole like Dawn, who when I start speaking slowly decides it's their turn to talk? Yeah, you've answered a different question. Now I'm clarifying my question. I want you to give validity to the claim of what occurs at the North Pole, not a restating of what you say happens with demonstrable evidence taken from the North Pole. Now, don't tell me what will happen if I go there. I don't want hypothetical scenarios. I want some actual evidence of what you claim occurs. Still can't help himself, can he? Still can't help himself. Yeah, I want evidence.
You're still not finished. Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
I'm still not finished. That's correct.
Finished?
That's correct, dumb fuck. You can tell because I'm still talking that I'm not finished. Yeah, if you weren't retarded, you would appreciate that when someone is in the middle of a sentence, they haven't finished. You fucking retard. Yeah, I haven't finished because I'm still talking. That's patently obvious to anybody with a brain. So shut the fuck up and listen. I want you to give me evidence of your claim, namely of what's occurring at the North Pole. Not a supposition of what would happen if I went there, but actual evidence to back the bullshit you've stated. Go!
No.
Was that no?
I'm not going to dance to your tune, Nathan.
Then shut up. You're not worthy of talking to me if you're not going to do what I ask, which is back your bullshit. Yeah? You don't want to back your bullshit, then you can fuck right off. Yeah? No, you don't just get to say no when I ask you to actually prove the shit you've spouted. You either prove it, or I shut you up permanently, you stupid fucktard. No. Oh, right, that's your claim being proven that stuff happens at the North Pole where you've never been. Yeah, fucktard. I don't just accept no as claim proven. Idiot. You actually have to demonstrate it. The reason you've said no is because your argument's undone at the first hurdle when I actually ask you to prove your bullshit. What, you say that happens at the North Pole? Oh, can you show that? Oh, well, when you go there. I'm not going there, you fucking fundy. And neither are you. So don't tell me what happens at the North Pole. Back it with some fucking evidence. Not a hand-wave dismissal and a telling me I'm not going to dance to your tune. You mean what? Have your ass handed to you when you can't back your claim? Is that what dancing to my tune is? Not supporting your claim with evidence? Yeah. Yeah, dance for me, you fuckwit fundy. Yeah. By saying no, I won't back my claim. I'll just restate it 5 more times over the top of you. Yeah? No, fundy. Yeah, this is where we take apart religious zealots and their belief in what happens at the North Pole, based on what they've been told. Just like Dawn believed that they had opposite star rotation, based on what he was told. He's probably never even been to the Southern Hemisphere, in quotes. He's probably never left England. The guy's a fucking retard that just believes everything that he's told. Yeah? Like you, who tell me what happens at the North Pole having never been there at all. But you're going to tell me all about what happens based on your fundy fuckwit belief, aren't you? Next.
See, oh yeah, he's Don's just parroting the same old friggin' nonsense from Timmy Clown about opposite star rotation, right? What a joke. Zep Tepe, that's a familiar name. What you got? I mean, you're a baller. You got verbal diarrhea. Well, typing diarrhea. You never say anything. Why are you even here? Standing ground.
Who are you just talking to? Zep Pepe?
Zep Tepe. Z-E-P-T-E-P-I.
Chat troll, presumably.
Yeah, chat troll. Yeah. He's always in Discord server typing away of his religious beliefs, but he won't say anything. Smart move.
That it?
You
That
got
the best you've got?
You got ballers come in here. They just sit here and don't say anything.
I'm
Most
sure
of them
they'll be-
put themselves on mute and some deaf mute.
Yeah,
right.
they come in here and they're like, oh, through the whole show, don't do their dance. Don't do his dance, but let's just sit here and listen to how we're wrong and then totally deny it.
Somehow I'm having trouble feeling their pain.
Well, we got Chemo to the rescue. Hashtag hug a baller.
So, yeah, is Chemo still here?
Yes.
Yeah, Chemo?
Yeah, I'm still out. Just finishing
So we have a claim of what's happening based on North and South hemispheres. Not begging the question, of course, but nevertheless, we've got a claim that's laid out by Chris. When I ask him to validate his claim with some actual evidence, his response is no. How would you deal with that, Chemo?
Oh, for me, we're dealing with someone who is struggling with serious cognitive dissonance, right? So for me, I would ask the question that you've just asked. There's nothing wrong with, I would say, Chris, okay, so you believe there are rotational stars in this manner. How can we verify this? Then we would go through it, and by the end of it, he would realize, well, okay, so the Earth doesn't curve, obviously, on all of those things. So pretty much the same, because you can realize he's suffering. He's just like, no. What is that? When someone that response, it means that they can't accept the truth, right?
Well, no, he just couldn't back his claim.
It's just no difference. There's no difference here.
He couldn't back his claim.
I didn't sense he was suffering, though.
No, he just couldn't back his claim, Chemo. So he made a claim, had absolutely no backing for it whatsoever. So just making shit up, basically.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's delivered. Maybe if it's delivered by somebody else, like a sympathizer, it would help. So go ahead, Chemo. Ask him what his claim is.
Chris, well, I know Chris's claims. He believes there are stars that rotate. Again, this is someone. Chris already knows that he's. We don't need to go to Chris's history, but yeah, I understand he has problems dealing with this reality.
No, don't deal with don't ad hom. Don't ad hom him. Go ahead and challenge him.
I'm not ad hom. This is reality. This is real. He just said no. That response should tell you, Nathan, me, all of us, everything. That he's struggling to provide something. So how does he handle? When you corner somebody, how do they respond?
Yeah, but Nathan intimidates people. So Nathan, they're scared of Nathan. So why don't you ask him?
I'm saying if an animal's in the corner, how are you going?
Okay, don't comment. Don't comment on it. Just ask him in real time.
Yes. Is Chris unmuted? Is he ready to go?
Yeah, Chris is unmuted.
I mean, we've been through this. We've been through this. Chris, look, I know he knows. He knows. Again, these guys are suffering. They're sufferers.
Stop it.
Look, they've been through it. Yes, unmute yourself, and show the pain that you are in right now. How you're unable to verify your claims. You're unable to show any of what you're talking about. Okay.
Wait a minute. He's going to show the pain he's in after that previous dialogue? Oh my gosh.
That's a good one, Chemo.
Wait, let me go get the tissues. Hold on.
Show your pain.
He can't show the evidence,
Not
but
pain.
Spurs is
Hold on.
asking him to show his pain.
Hold on. Something's been lost in translation. Claim, not pain. Ask him what his claim is.
Oh, okay. I sorry about that.
So just unmute yourself and just show what you can do. You're saying the stars are rotating the opposite direction.
No,
Okay.
he didn't say that.
Let's go with that.
That was Dawn.
How do we verify that?
No, that was Dawn that made that claim. Do you want to ask Dawn since Chris is not talking?
Dawn.
Let's ask Dawn. There you go. You're Dawn.
Yeah,
he's
No,
right.
I'm not going to keep talking if you and Betty don't unmute us and you let Nathan just Nazi.
Sorry,
If Nathan's just going to Nazi mute us, I'm not going to really take part.
He didn't mute you. I muted you.
He did. He muted me and went on a psychopathic rant.
I did.
No,
because you were rumpusing him.
You've got to let us speak back to him, or else it's just preaching.
See, you keep on rumpusing, right? That's why I muted you. And then when he was done, I took you off mute.
Yeah, you can't just mute us when you don't agree with us, and then
No,
let Nathan
I'm not
ramble.
muting you because. Okay, here we go. Let me.
You
explain
did.
this
You
to
did it to me and.
Okay. Listen, I didn't mute you because we don't agree with you. Number one, this isn't agree or disagree topic. Number two, I muted you because you kept on over talking him, and all we get is gibberish in our headphones. We can't hear anything. It's called rumpusing. That's why I put you on mute. It's not unfair or fair. He got done with what he said. He asked you a question, and I unmuted you, and he shut up because he's disciplined like that. Do you understand that? That's the reasons why. Let's try it again.
That's not what
Go ahead,
happened.
Chemo.
That's not what happened. I was just saying I'm not talking about east to west. Then he repeated it 3 times, and then when I said no, I'm not saying that, you muted me.
You did say they
I'm
went
not
in
stupid,
opposite
Kiwi.
direction. See, you're doing it to me now.
I did not do rumpusing. That's not what I did.
Yeah, that's what you're doing right now. He started to reply to you, which was to correct you and say you said they went in opposite directions. Now, we quantified direction with east to west, but they're all going in the same direction, i.e. not opposite. So you are wrong, but you keep restating it.
He actually agreed that they were all going east to west. Then he said they go in opposite directions. So law of non-contradiction, both can't be true.
I have a mute button so that I can mute you when you interrupt me as well. So to make it fair.
We're not interrupting. You're interrupting us. Get off the mute button. Concentrate on your claim.
You, right? Never Nathan or you.
I muted you. I explained why. Get on with your claim.
You lied about why.
Oh, God. Okay. You're on mute. Fuck. I'm not dealing with you.
Why do we
You'll stay on mute.
Dicks. Get more projection.
He's highlighting the mute issue because he can't bring a good answer to the question. That's all. He's playing around.
Yeah,
it's just a tactic, a distraction.
Cry foul when you've lost.
Yep. He's a victim. All over the mute button. Listen, let me tell you something, folks. You ballers that cry and whine like little snowflakes about the mute button Nathan has. Let me tell you something. Anyone that can fog a mirror that has listened to these 800 and so debates knows as apodictic indubitable that you clowns are worried about getting your asses handed to you in a sling. That's the reason why you complain about the mute button. What you do is you come in here and then start rumpusing, right? Because you know you're going to get destroyed, but you rumpus almost immediately, so no one can hear anything in the hangout or in the audience, and then you complain about being muted? Are you insane?
If you're worried about a mute button, Don, why don't you go to Jose's show where you can spew all your pseudoscience nonsense?
Oh,
and
No,
not
Jose
pseudoscience?
mutes. No, let's just get that clear. Jose absolutely mutes the entire panel.
Yeah, he does do that.
Right. So Jose, I mute the entire panel. Gonzalez, as I like to call him, does mute his entire panel. Me, I tend not to, actually. Typically, I don't mute people. I get accused of it all the time, but typically I'll actually just let the row ensue and try and get my point across without muting somebody. Eventually, it does reach a point, like with John today, where someone like Dawn just will not let the rebuttal come through to the audience, and then they get to cry foul when they get muted because it can't be heard. But he'll say the same thing over and over again, while the single attempt to rebut it is either talked over or ignored with a repetition of the same claim, with no backing evidence.
Right. They walk
some
into the
people
theater
need to
with a
be muted, like
flamethrower
Brenda.
and then they complain about getting shot. Right? What are we going to just allow them to come in the theater with a flamethrower?
Yeah, some people
Right?
like Brenda need to get muted because they're just using that tactic of like talking nonstop to make sure that your points don't get heard by everybody else. It's just a tactic.
Precisely. Yeah. Yeah. Then they complain, like I said, they complain about being muted because they're going to get their ass handed to them in a sling. We all know this. We all know what's going to happen. It's happened over and over. There's so many toe tags out there. It's, rack them, stack them, and toe tag them, right? So then they complain about being muted when he doesn't mute anyone.
I know what
And
Hamlet
it's
would say.
interesting that they're complaining. It's interesting that they're complaining about this, and this is coming from the same people that porn bomb other people's channels and delete people's content off the internet, and yet they're acting like victims right now.
Sure. Yeah.
I know what Hamlet would say. To mute or not to mute? That is the question.
Yeah, and listen, if Nathan muted people, this would be Nathan. If he muted these people with legitimate arguments, with decent behavior, and Nathan just carte blanche muted him, Nathan's going to lose his subscribers, right? He's not going to do that. So I don't know where you're getting it. You think you're fooling people with this? Oh, Nathan's muting us. We can't go in. Come on over and debate us. No, everyone that can fog a mirror knows the game. You're acting like you're so delusional that you actually believe in your delusion. Other people are just laughing at you. We all know the score. Everyone does. It's a joke.
I've been on this, I think, panel for a long time. I don't think Nathan's ever muted me. Of course, I don't say much, but that's what it is.
Oh, I have repeatedly. I've more often than not will mute the members of the panel because they're making background noise or they've got the mic open when it shouldn't be. So, but typically, you'll see me. I mean, it's only recently that I've started using Discord, but you'll see on screen my mouse go over somebody as you've just been on and off. I know you're not on screen, but 10th man hopefully is paying enough attention to take himself off mute. But you'll see me actually mute them when that happens. Now, don't get me wrong, on the Discord server it's less obvious, but I still highlight somebody and you'll see a little white box next to them. It's glaringly obvious when I go in and mute somebody.
It's an excuse. I was on Jose's and I was like, okay, so you guys are saying that, Nathan uses the mute button, like you have something to say. Like, Nathan mutes me so we can't speak. So it was like, well, let's hear what you have to say. Let's, and all they gave was stories. So I was like, well, of course, this should be muted. We don't want to hear, your story, what you feel or what you think. We want to hear, what you can present, verify. Just like Chris here now, same example. So it's just an excuse. I wouldn't even worry about the mute button is always used in the right order. If it's
well, I typically do it verbally. I'll say, let's just shut you up. That's what I'll say. And then typically the person, although I'm now revealing that little trick, will shut up.
I mean, that's why there's no order on Jose's show. It's just like usually 5 or 6 people all wanting to talk at the same time.
Exactly. You got it.
It helps when we have
Exactly.
order.
They get 5 or
when
6, and then they
each
bring up
person gets their
different
chance to
topics
talk.
when they know they're about to get compromised. Then somebody also come in and bring up a different topic, right? And then 4 others will jump in. Yeah. So it's a cluster screw. No one can hear anything. Nothing can get resolved, right? It's just a shouting match back and forth. It's a clown show.
They usually hang out in groups like that just because if one of them can't answer a question, they have backups. So like someone else is going to jump in that's probably going to have more expertise.
Yeah, and they have the
This
people
show,
on the
they
sidelines to
do
ad
it
hom.
because-
So people like Dawn will be there to throw in a few ad homs here and there when someone's losing, distract the conversation away from the topic at hand. It's all just tactics. Here, we try and keep them well and truly on topic, toes to the fire as we call it. And then when we hear the 5th repetition of the same thing and somebody like today shuts up that person who's made the same assertion, Dawn in this instance, they go in opposite directions. No, they don't. They all rise in the east and set in the west. Oh, they go in opposite directions, you're not listening, I didn't use east and west. Yeah, we did to obliterate your argument. They all go in different directions over the top 5 times. They go in different directions, I didn't use east and west, I didn't use east and west, I didn't make that up. Over the top of your rebuttal. That's what you get. Yep. So while we try and stay on topic, by the 5th repetition of the same assertion that's been debunked and ignored, we get accused of muting them. What? What did we mute? Like. We heard it 5 times. The rebuttal, on the other hand, got rumpus. Sorry, Spurs.
Go ahead, Spurs. Go ahead, Spurs. You got rumpus.
Yeah, I was saying that's what I don't like, and this is what is good about the show, because it's like having heard all the conversations, like what you hear on all over the place. This noise, all of that noise. It's like, okay, let's remove that noise and let's just focus on the main questions, which you know it is done so well, I think, and you know that's what they try to avoid, is answering. They do what they think. This is what they were doing. They think it's. I think they were like, oh, we just want to have a conversation. Like you're not there to socialize. So they see a social element to this. Let's talk about Narnia, so to speak. And you know, it's like, well, no, there's no time. You know, there are places for that for you to discuss so and so. But here, yeah, it's very strict. So it's nothing to do with the mute button. It's direct. They don't like it.
That's Spurs. That's very nice and all, but I don't see this as social because these people are lying. Okay, people are being lied to, and I don't take that lightly. I take it very personally because I've been lied to all my life. So that's how I see it. I don't see this as a social. I'm not here to make friends with ballers. None of that crap.
The ball earthers are attracted to flat earthers for some. They seem to want to hang around and.
My question is why? If the Earth was a globe, why would they need to be even involved in this conversation?
I find that part really creepy and really weird. In particular, like if we're so dumb and stupid for believing in this, then why are they watching us? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they seem to want to be around us and just socialize. I was saying it's
exactly.
Not a social.
Go watch your Star Wars. Go watch your Star Trek. Enjoy your space on television. Okay, you don't need to be involved in this conversation if you just believe that you live on a spinning ball flying around in a vacuum. It's ridiculous.
See, Chemo, I disagree with you that they're here to socialize.
Some of them are.
The way I see it.
Socialize.
No, they're not here to socialize. They're here because
I honestly.
I finish?
Hold on a second. Let 10th finish.
Look, psychology is simple. If you have kids, if you ran a sales organization, you pick up on psychology real simple. Okay, and I'm not like you going overboard on psychology at all. But here's why they're here, in my opinion. They're here because they cannot accept the reality of a flat earth, and they're not here to socialize. They're here with their best pseudoscience that they can muster up to try to shut down logic and our reasoning, and they can't. They don't want to be wrong. That's why they're here. They're fighting not to be wrong. They're not interested in truth or socializing.
Yeah, totally agree. Absolutely spot on. They're here to fight against something that goes against their worldview. They are zealots.
Exactly.
I was gonna say something different, but I have to agree with 10th Man because he's spot on with that. Like that's 100% true. My But how I felt about this issue is I feel like a lot of these trolls that are watching us are actually flat earthers, but they just haven't received enough information to be convinced. So that's why they're hanging around. Like they wanna, it's almost like they wanna learn about the topic, but because they're not 100% convinced, they're just on the sidelines trolling and
No, what they're waiting for one of their little pseudoscientists, priests, or one of their little representatives like Fight the Flat Earth or one of these morons to actually prove their ball. They're just waiting around for that, hoping that one day they might turn on YouTube and Flat Earth is gonna go down. That's what they're waiting for. Most
So
of
the
them.
funny thing is that a lot of the Globers don't even like Fight the Flat Earth. A lot of them know that he's only in this just to make money, and he's just piggybacking off of Flat Earth. A lot of them realize that. So I'm just wondering who his actual fan base is.
Well,
Yeah,
there's no
this is all interesting and getting into the psychology of people's motives and stuff. It's just the acme of foolishness to try to discern this. Just stick with the claims and support, right? If you got something to say, you got a claim, no problem. Go ahead and make it. Let's see what your support is.
Yeah,
And usually they don't have any.
And those conversations end real quick when you actually ask them for what John refers to as cowbell. So cowbell being support for the claim. So when you get some hypothetical situation about what's going on at the North Pole as a reference, and you go, okay, do you want to show me that? Well, if you go to the North Pole, no. Don't describe what might happen should I go to the North Pole. Show me evidence for your claim. No. Those conversations end real fast. You know, the motivation behind why some fool would come along and assert something they've got no clue about, with no supporting evidence for what they assert, other than their idea of what a reification fallacy model does, is beyond me, and I'm not going to question the motives. What I will do is take a giant steaming dump on their claim just by asking them to support it. That's all I do.
Right.
Go on then, show us that. Oh, well, I've never been to the North Pole.
Yep.
I agree. Got to show, otherwise it's just nonsense. But I think it's just the person how they, so like you or me, how we receive what they say. So to again, to all of us, it's absurd. Like, how can you not verify? This is not normal. But you know, again, it's just going back to the sympathy side. But again, yeah, it's the same directness. So I would be the same with Chris. I would ask exactly the same. Chris, verify. Dawn, verify. How can we verify the stars are rotating or what you're saying? And he would just tell me the same old, well, we've done it, they've done it, we have it, all of that stuff. And
his own work.
Well, where'd you go from there? Where'd you go from there, Nathan? Do you just, like you said ridicule them or just, have no time of day? I don't know.
You ask them to support their claim. I just said. You ask them to support their claim.
That's exactly right, Spurs, because there is no variation like the craziness we see on the globe side, on the flat earth side. For example, the guy comes on and says and agrees that the stars move east to west. He agreed with that. And he says, however, because I'm going to presuppose I'm on a sphere, the southern hemisphere stars go west to east. Wait a minute. Did I hear that correct? You said all the stars go east to west, but then you also said in the same sentence, half of them below the equator, presuppose, go west to east? Contradiction. Are you listening to yourself? A flat earther never does that. A flat earther says all the stars go east to west. No contradiction.
Yeah, my argument is not with, I think the more of this is understanding. My argument is not with flat earthers, right? I mean, it's just more a case of why they do what they do and why go about which way to go about.
That. Why are you taking what I said as an argument that you thought I put on you against flat earthers? I'm saying when they come with their,
I agree with you.
Right, but a person can't say, I'm going from California to New York, but I'm also going from New York to California in the same drive time.
I just want to understand why Dawn doesn't think what Nathan said is the end of the conversation. I want to understand why east to west. That's not it. Like, what is it? Why are you saying that that's a?
I'll say it one more. Thanks for unmuting me. I'm not talking about east to west. I know they go east to west. I'm talking about when you look up at the sky from different points on Earth, they appear to rotate in the sky like a circle around 2 points. One of them goes clockwise, one of them goes anti-clockwise when you look all night and you watch them go round. Nothing to do with east and west.
But Dawn, how do we verify? Again,
Because you take pictures. There's hundreds of pictures on the internet. You've
Okay,
seen
Dawn.
them yourself.
Okay, Dawn.
Dawn.
Made memes of them.
Dawn.
Okay.
Dawn.
Okay, so if they're not going east to, if what you're showing is not east to west, then what is it? Up and down? What direction is it then? If
Clockwise
it's
and
not,
anti-clockwise in the sky.
You're saying, Dawn, there's a point you can stand and see two.
Yeah, he's made his claim.
Rotation.
Yeah, many.
No one going to
many
take this
points,
apart.
Dawn,
As we
if I were
observe from
to,
all over the Earth, different places looking up, we can see that there is two anti-clockwise and clockwise stars.
All right. So
Right. Is anybody going to take this apart or not? Is it just going to be
Dawn.
5 people restating his claim is nonsense? Or is someone going to actually take it apart now?
If you listened the first time, Nathan, and didn't mute me, then we wouldn't be here again 10 minutes
I'm asking
later.
other people, Dawn. You've made your claim. It's been heard. Chemo's repeated it. Now you're talking over me, aren't you, Dawn? That's what's happening. So I'm asking other people on the panel, while you talk all over me, whether or not anybody has got an address to the claim that you have made and has been repeated. I know you've got a tendency to need to talk continually while I do, but I'm trying to establish with people who are not you if they have a rebuttal, because I'm itching to repeat something that I've already explained to you on multiple occasions, but now take apart the anti-clockwise, clockwise bit that you're using as reference, if no one else will. That doesn't mean respond, Dawn. It means the other people on the panel need to respond, or not, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Dawn, can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yeah, you. If I'm standing outside and I look up at the sky and I see the stars rotating above me, clockwise, right?
Yeah.
If I turn around and face the other way, what direction are those stars going to go in?
The same.
No, Dawn, you've changed your position. They're now going the other
No.
way.
You want to think about that
The
again,
way you
Dawn?
look at the sky doesn't matter. Clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Let me try it
Oh, it
differently.
doesn't matter. When you're talking
he hasn't
about how they
understood.
appear to
Chocolate.
move in the sky,
Chocolate,
it
he hasn't
doesn't matter?
understood.
I have understood.
Chocolate.
I have understood.
No, he hasn't. You haven't understood, Dawn.
You can't simply say, but turn around, and that debunks the whole 2 points in the sky. This is not true.
Because they aren't going in opposite. Dawn.
We're not talking about 2 points in the sky. We're talking about counterclockwise and clockwise rotation of the stars.
Around
What
2 points in the sky.
world?
Right, Dawn. What you're saying requires them to go in opposite directions.
Opposite rotational directions, yeah.
Yes. Just say, yeah. My example needs the stars to go in opposite directions.
What's your example?
I'm asking you to just confirm the example that you've given. A simple yes is all I need.
It's an evidence of the globe Earth. It's something we observe all over the Earth. I'm
That's
just giving it
nice.
to you
And
as
what's the
my
example?
evidence for the globe.
Go
That's
ahead.
all.
What's the example, Dawn?
Looking at the stars from multiple places on the Earth, they appear to rotate around 2 points, one anti-clockwise, one clockwise. Whichever direction you're facing. Doesn't matter if you turn 180 degrees.
Okay, Dawn.
Still happens.
Yeah, let me know when you're finished.
Yeah, this is my globe evidence.
Let me know when you've finished.
Oh, I finished.
Okay, Dawn. The stars do not rotate in opposite directions. They, in fact, go in the same direction, east to west. Do you understand that they do not go in opposite directions?
Yep. They appear to go in opposite rotational directions.
Sorry, is that a yes, I understand, and then you claiming the same thing again? Or are
I agree
you...
with your point, but that doesn't debunk my point. Both are true.
No, Dawn.
You're talking like direction means only one thing, but it means a few things, doesn't it? It's quite a common word.
Tell me, Dawn. Explain how your definition of direction and them all being in the same direction is actually them going in the opposite direction. You explain it to me.
Rotational direction. You keep saying just direction.
Yeah. Rotational direction. You explain how something that goes in the same direction is in fact going in an opposite rotational direction. Explain that to me, Dawn.
No, I'm not a maths teacher. I can't explain.
You're making the claim, Dawn. Yeah, you're making the claim, Dawn.
That's your problem, buddy.
Sorry, what my problem is that your example contains a contradiction. That two
Pretending
things.
not to understand
Yeah,
what
I'm now
rotational
responding,
direction
Dawn.
is. That's your
Dawn, this is what happens. Once you continue to do this and I shut you up, will you cry foul while you talk over me? Because that's what's just happened. We had a back and forth. I'm still talking, Dawn. Dawn, I'm still talking. Dawn, you're doing it again. I was in the middle of... Dawn, you're doing it now. So will you cry foul when we were having a back and forth? You speak, I respond. You respond, I respond. Now it's I respond, you continue talking. So what's wrong, Dawn? Are you going to cry foul at the end after doing that to me? Over.
Yeah, because it was just a small interruption. So I would call foul if you muted me for that, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't though, did I, Dawn? You just interrupted me. So I've not done anything wrong here. In fact, you have. The one who cries foul about mute buttons. Right, Dawn?
I think you've done something wrong. I think you've pretended to not understand rotational direction.
I'm asking you. Yeah, Dawn. You said I don't understand rotational direction. Then I asked you. Dawn, you're doing it again. You're doing it again, Dawn. Dawn, you're doing it again, aren't you, Dawn? Yeah? The wanker here is you talking over me. Let's just get that clear. I'll try again. I'll try again, and it's going to reach the point that you're going to get muted, Dawn. I'm trying to get out a statement that you won't let me. So, again, we're in a situation where the globe head won't let me speak. Not being muted, Dawn. Yeah, I'm still trying to get the same statement out, Dawn. I've highlighted that you won't shut your mouth. You still won't shut your mouth. And I will never get to make my statement, will I, Dawn? You're not being muted, though, are you, Dawn? You are the wanker in this situation. Let's make it clear. Because after the fact, people like you who are doing this that you're doing to me will claim they've been muted. When they haven't, they've just rumpused and lost. So, Dawn. Yeah, you're still doing it. I'm not going to let you do it to me, Dawn, you bastard. Shut up and let me ask.
Just Discord.
Let me... Dawn.
People have
Dawn. I'm talking, Dawn. All I've done is clarified that you're talking over me so far. I haven't got to make the point because you interrupted it. Then clarified that you'd interrupted. Now we're discussing the interruption. I'm never getting to make my point, though, are you? And when you get muted, you'll cry foul. So we've established all that. I still want to make my original point. Okay, Dawn.
Nathan, can I ask something real quick? Is this live? Has this been live streamed?
Shut the fuck up!
I'm just asking a quick question.
This is the wankers. This is the Glober tactic. So I still haven't made my point, and new questions come up from this asshole. Yeah, you shut up.
If you don't misrep what I said straight after I said it, you'll be able to make your point, and I wouldn't interrupt.
Okay, thank you,
That's
Dawn.
live. And Nathan, see
Thank
every
you, Dawn.
fucking. It's you that's talking 90% of the time. You don't let anyone get a fucking word in.
My show. Shut the fuck up. I'm having a conversation with Dawn. You're trying to obfuscate it.
Your
So,
show,
Dawn,
this is
Dawn,
Becky's
I still
server.
haven't got to make my point. I get interrupted by Chris. I still haven't made my point. There's been talk of the interruption you keep making. Yeah? So will I ever get to make it? Probably not, because you won't let me. But I'll get accused of muting you, won't I?
I'll give you another chance to make your point, but try not misrepresent my point.
Normally in this situation, Dawn, I'd say what I need is not a response, not a permission from you to talk. I need you to shut up. That's all I need. I'm waiting for that 2 or 3 second gap that I think, yeah, he's appreciated that now he can shut the fuck up while I actually make my example. About 4 minutes after the globe-tired obfuscation began.
It was the misrepping. That's why I carried on talking and interrupting you, because you misrep my point straight after I said it.
I clarified that you said there was a difference in rotational direction, and I asked you to clarify to me what that meant. Your example was, oh, I'm not a mathematician, that's your problem, you go and figure it out because I don't understand it. Then rumpusing ensued. So at the point, now it's happening again. At the point that you give up because you don't understand your own example, and it's been ripped to pieces because it bears a contradiction. Something going in one direction can't also be going in the opposite direction, and the rumpusing starts again, because of course it's now the time I'm making my point. So the wankers who believe in a globe, they just don't want the point to be made. They want to talk about muting. They want to cry foul. They want to ask if the show is live, as opposed to understanding that declaring an opposite direction of turn when they go in the same direction is physically impossible. Your example falls short because it makes no sense and contains a contradiction. So at this point, Dawn, I'd like you to respond to the contradiction in your example of things going in both an opposite direction and the same direction. Go ahead, Dawn. The mic's all yours.
Usually, in my mind, usually rotational direction means a circular movement. Yeah. In reference to you, or in reference to the Earth, or in reference to something on a flat plane, or something that appears to be flat. And a normal direction means a straight line away from a point. And there's other directions like the ones we've determined, northwest, east, south. And there's directions like up and down.
You let us know when
Whereas
you're
normal
done, Dawn.
direction is that way.
You let us know when
me
you're
pointing.
done.
That's the difference.
Are you done, Dawn?
Over.
So, Dawn, you haven't addressed the question of how you have a contradiction in your example with things going simultaneously in opposite directions and the same direction. You've told us about what directions are, which is fascinating, but you haven't addressed the contradiction. So I'd like you to try again and address how something can be going in both opposite directions and the same direction, rotational direction, at the same time. Please. Over.
They're in reference to different things, so they mean different directions. They can be both sometimes, yeah. Not a contradiction, that's my answer.
Yeah, that's reassertion. So do you want to explain how it's not, as opposed to restating that it just isn't?
Not really, dude. No, I'm not gonna like give you a shape lesson or a lesson on directions. That's not why I'm here. I'm just telling you.
Just telling you.
It means a few different things.
The contradiction, Dawn, that's what I'm asking for. An explanation how it can be opposite directions and the same directions at the same time, because those things are in polar opposition to one another. You still haven't answered that question, Dawn.
Over.
Over.
Well, I guess it is over. So we have somebody else that wants to clarify the baller's position. Hello? Can anyone hear me out there?
Hello? Yeah, we hear you. Who wants to
You hear
clarify
me?
the
That's a
ballers?
good copy.
That's a good copy.
Roger that.
Who wants to
Roger
clarify
that,
the
huh?
baller position? Who's that then?
Roger that. Somebody else wants it. A person named Sittings wants to clarify.
Go ahead.
Hello? That would be me.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello,
Yeah,
welcome to the show.
yeah. Well, I just want to clarify what Dawn wants to, I think, bring across is that if you have a flat plane and you have the stars turning around Polaris in a certain way, then you wouldn't have to circle points. That's what they claim, basically. Because then the edges of the flat plane, where the stars would be rotating, wouldn't converge to a point. That's their argument.
Is that your argument, Don?
I guess that's an extension of the argument, but that wasn't quite mine. Mine's just the basic. We see this in the sky, and that's my globe evidence. But yeah, that's if you go more into the details, it's about the convergence. Yeah.
I try to avoid the 2 points rotating because then you get into the discussion with east and west and stuff and directions and clockwise and counterclockwise.
Yeah.
But
I
if you
just want
explain it from a flat Earth perspective, then
to explain to Nathan that there is two different things. There's a rotational direction, like clockwise, anti-clockwise, and there's a normal direction, like east-west. And there's up and down. There's different meanings for the word.
sure.
Some of them can coexist.
Yeah, but I think that the problem is that you see 2 points converging, right? In Polaris, and on the other side where there is not really a star rotation point, but there is seems to be a apparent.
Some flat earthers would say, yes, we do see this, but that's not globe evidence for me.
Yeah,
That's not globe evidence for you, you say, Dawn.
Oh, some flat earthers might say, even though I admit that happens in the sky, that's not globe evidence for them.
How is it globe evidence for you?
Yeah, for me, it's one evidence.
Oh, how?
I just picked that at random when you asked, when John asked.
How is this proving a globe?
It's if you admit it happens, it suggests a rotational point of axis of a sphere. To extrapolate from what you see in the sky.
It's in the
What?
sky.
I don't.
No, you don't.
It says, hold on a second. That's
This is what
the
humans do. They
celestial
look at
sphere.
their surroundings and they extrapolate.
Hold on,
Yeah.
John. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
They're above me, Dawn. So how on earth does that result in a sphere?
Can I tag in Chris? Because he really wants to talk and he keeps
I
telling
don't
me
care.
to stop.
His last input was to interrupt when we got to the very drawn out silence after me asking you to explain the contradiction of things going in opposite directions and the same direction. You didn't have an answer when we finally got to the end of that point without you rumpusing me. Chris interjected to ask if we were live. So he doesn't have anything particularly useful to add. And when I asked him to back his last claim that something happens at the North Pole, he said no. So do I give a shit what Chris has to add? What, so we can have a nice little argument and then him say no when he makes any claim about anything? No, Dawn, I'm not that interested in what Chris has to say. He's basically useless. So Dawn, you
Can I
yet to
ask a
explain
question,
how
Dawn?
something happening above my head, apparently non-rotational in the opposite direction but in the same direction at the same time, proves a sphere. You haven't explained how that proves anything, in fact. Yeah, that's a nice observation of stuff above me. What the hell does that have to do with being on a sphere? Not understand the question, Dawn.
Over.
I'm taken out. It's the next
When you're
guy's
taken
go.
out, how you've said that for some flat earthers, pointing at lights above you in the sky and what they do wouldn't be a proof of a sphere. I was with you all the way along when you said that. And then I was like, well, how does it prove a sphere then, Dawn? And we're not getting an answer. You're asking Chris to answer for you for some reason. Is he your babysitter?
No, it's not proof. It's my one evidence that I came up with at random.
I know that. Now I'm asking you to explain how it's evidence of a sphere. Don't you say it's evidence. Well, yeah, you've presented it. The claim's been made. Now explain how it proves a sphere.
What was the last thing I answered?
You haven't answered anything. How does this observation of the stars prove a sphere, Dawn?
On a sphere by extrapolating.
Extrapolate away. Let's hear it.
Oh, dude. I'm not the extrapolator of the heavens. I'm just telling you how it happened, what happened.
Yeah, the
It's
heavens,
your claim.
They're above us, Dawn. So I'm yet to understand how you can take anything that happens above my head with little twinkly lights to imply we're on a sphere. And you're like, I'm not the arbiter of the lights in the sky. No, I'm not expecting you to be. But I do expect you to explain how this fuels your fundamentalist sphere belief. Because you're not explaining how.
Over.
Don, how many things in your claim
Just
are
let the
rotating?
silence roll,
Hold
man.
on, hold on.
Just let the silence roll. It's amazing when there's no rumpusing and moaning and playing victim, how many protracted silences there are when we get to these questions. No mute button needed, just an easy airwave with a question being transmitted to both audience and guest. And what do we get as the answer? Absolute silence.
Over.
Dawn, this is your claim. You've claimed that this is your evidence for the sphere.
Over.
Have you curled up into the fetal position or something, Dawn? You're just like quivering, going, oh my god, he's talking to me and making me prove my claims.
Over.
Just sat on mute. Given up.
Yep.
Completely closed down.
Maybe
Okay,
he's muted?
No, he's not muted.
No.
He's stuck himself on mute and decided, I'm not going to answer this question about how my observation of the stars proves my fundamentalist sphere belief. No, I'm not going to explain that, because basically he doesn't know. He's probably being fed in the background right now by Soundly or GeoStreamer to give a decent answer. And he'll suddenly come back 100% smarter than he was 5 minutes ago, with a semi-coherent explanation that he's parroting.
Well, why he is also not concerned that every 3 months we should totally change the picture in the sky based on the Earth traveling around the sun alone, without counting the sun traveling and galaxy traveling. This doesn't bother him?
No, it's a different point, maybe.
May I interject the thought?
Go ahead. We've had such a long, protracted silence from Dawn that...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought when Quantum Eraser said over, that was an opening, but I apologize for that.
Go ahead.
Anyway, my question is, if he should decide to come back and answer your question first, I would like him to answer my question after he answers yours, which is, in his claim, how many things are rotating besides the sky?
Over.
think given that the globeheads have literally completely shut down in the face of a few difficult questions, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've joined us on this 4-hour epic bumper mega after show. And also, of course, a huge, massive thank you to all of you who hopefully smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Again, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum at nathanoakley.com, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!